everyone. A couple of technical difficulties. Not that it really matters because there's nobody here yet. That being said, I am joined by Gaz and Zam. Hello, guys. How we doing?
All right.
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Lovely jubbly. I've still got a bug that I can't get rid of, but other than that, I'm doing fine. So on today's show, we've got lots to talk about. There's quite a lot. Not in the gaming sphere, yet again, quiet, because there's no point in repeating the same shady crap that games companies are doing all the time. Like I could happily sit there and talk about Diablo's situation with Blizzard, but there's just no point because we've heard it all before. And it's the definition of insanity is buying the same game from the same company over and over again and expecting different results. That's the 21st century version of that saying. Well, anyway, that being said, it's a British forum here today for now, so we're going to go straight into the news of, as you will be aware, we have hit record temperatures here in the not in the UK, but the rest of Europe and the rest of the world has hit record temperatures, with Death Valley in the USA hitting 55 degrees centigrade, whatever that is in Fahrenheit. And of course, in right-wing government infinite wisdom here in the UK, Rishi Sunak has given more drilling and oil licenses to companies like BP to do offshore drilling and or increase oil production, because these billionaires want to burn the planet and take us with them just for short-term profits. What a wonderful world we live in. However, the reason I'm really talking about this is that before this deal was put through by the Prime Minister, his family's company, Infosystems, or Infosys, got a whole load of contracts from BP before he basically cleared all the contracts. So Sunak stands to make billions from this. I mean, this guy is quite literally only in it for himself.
It's a proper conflict of interest.
Complete conflict of interest.
Conflict.
Complete conflict of interest.
Yeah.
And here we are, and it's not just happening here. It's happening in many countries all over the world, where all this rattling, all this kind of greenwashing and all this kind of crap that all these corporations are doing, and behind the scenes they are just making sure to ramp up oil production. And not just that, So, the propaganda and the greenwashing that these corporations are doing is to the point where I forgot the name of the YouTuber, but they're even paying social media stars, influencers, to basically greenwash for them and big up some products and events that and research that these oil companies are allegedly doing. And it's all just a great big facade. And it's sadly working, because a lot of people are buying into it. The whole climate denial thing is working, but also people thinking, oh yeah, you show BP, they're the good guys. They're doing their best. They're trying all this new clean research into oil. It's like, remember Trump, beautiful clean coal. What it is, they take the coal and they clean it. Clean coal. It's the same kind of shit that they're doing. And this is like everyone always talks about, a future or dystopian future. We are in a dystopian present now, where the world is burning and these oil companies are just carrying on ramping up production. And not just that, my fucking petrol went up. Like, the petrol's gone up. How the fuck has it gone up when oil production is ramping up and it's at higher levels now than what it was pre-COVID? It's like, and it's gone up fucking 5p as well. So it's just like this just never-ending circle jerk of burning the planet, making us fucking pay for the privilege, underfunding public resources, not having any sensible solutions to the problem, making us pay for it instead of holding these goddamn corporations accountable who account for all of the pollution. We are just 10% of the bloody problem. Okay, the US military is the world's biggest polluter. And then you've got all the other corporations. And they found that Coca-Cola and Pepsi accounted for the biggest waste producers in the world. And yet you're telling us to fucking recycle. How about they calm down on production of plastic bottles? Lads, what you got to say about it? Gaz, I go to you.
It's disgraceful, to be honest with you, because, like, I mean, like, I'm going to probably say the date's wrong now, but I think the Kyoto climate, the big one, I think it was 97, I'm going to say, like 98, 97, was the first big one where we had it. We had a meeting about this.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to be doing something about it then, and we've done fuck all. There's countries that have done a lot. Like, for example, Norway has done a lot to go green. Like, they've turned a lot into their, for example, a lot of their energy comes from refuse, from basically turning methane, our shit, basically, into electricity. Now, the thing is, we could literally take that and apply it here and not all over places with a working sewage system. And we'd probably cut off a lot of gas and stuff like that overnight, because we've got a lot of excess energy. Like, we've got Scotland, which produces a lot more energy than it uses. So why is that not being taxed as a resource? I mean, a lot of that is wind powered.
Yeah, I mean, the extra stuff is just going into the shareholders' pockets.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's fucking me off. It's like this thing has been an issue, and climate scientists have been saying for a while this is an issue. And the thing is, now people are actually literally doing stuff about it, like Greenpeace flaming, stuff, just stop oil, all this stuff, and people are complaining about it, saying, "Oh, we don't like the fact that they're doing this." Well, the only way you'll listen is to do that.
Well, I mean, look, okay, so
Just Stop Oil go after the wrong people, unfortunately.
Yeah, my issue with Just Stop Oil, and I get so frustrated trying to get this through to fucking libs. Okay, I'm like, if Just Stop Oil are in the news for their protests, it's because they're ineffective. If their protests were effective, like Palestine Action raiding Israeli arms factories here in the UK, the news won't fucking mention it, which is exactly what's happening, because they're very effective, because the Palestine Action have actually managed to shut down all the factories here, and they're moving abroad now. So no Israeli arms are getting made here in the UK, as far as I know. See, that's effective, and you don't see that in the news. They keep that very quiet. But Just Stop Oil, who are a bunch of fucking well-off, like middle-class white liberals, okay, who don't understand the struggle of day-to-day life for ordinary people, who can't handle mild inconvenience because their life is so fucking on a knife edge due to the cost of living crisis, okay, they don't understand this selfish mentality that they have of blocking the roads of ordinary people. Now, when they go to headquarters or when they block the roads for oil companies and all this kind of stuff, that's the shit you never see in the news. You never see that in the news when Just Stop Oil do that. And that's because that is actually an effective solution. So the news will suppress that. But when they're blocking the roads, what they're doing is very clever. They're just saying, hey, look, these guys are blocking you from doing your ordinary life. What scumbags they are. They're so selfish. They don't agree. And whilst people agree with the general message that we do need climate change policies and all the greener policies and all this kind of stuff, the Just Stop Oil are not making themselves likable by doing what they're doing. Now, if they're doing it at a sporting event and things like that, that's fine. It's a mild inconvenience, all this kind of stuff, and it's going to get in the news and all this. But if they want to be really effective, they have to do what Palestine actually did. They have to raid CEOs' homes. They have to bully and harass people involved in this industry. They have to shut down the factories, block the depots, all this kind of stuff, like proper shit. Okay, but all it is just, I call this performative protesting, where do they care? Do they not care? Some might care. Some might not care. Some might want the spotlight. Some genuinely give a shit, but it's all performative. They're not risking anything more than a punch in the head by a local. But in terms of governmental stuff, they'll just go like, we'll arrest you and you'll get a police caution. So
Well,
that's my issue with them.
Well, I think it was this week. I think I saw it. It was actually today, actually. I think it was Greenpeace went to Richie Sunak's house and they
which is beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. Love it.
Which is what they should be doing. And the thing is
that's
that,
it.
But the thing is that, because the thing is like, how are we supposed to be enforcing the sort of like changes we want when the energy companies and stuff like that are so entrenched into the government's pockets? I mean, that. I mean, surely there's a conflict of interest somewhere that we can say, "Hey, can we stop this for a minute?" You know.
Well, look, I mean, the best solution would be affirmative action by the collective in not paying their bills and just causing hell and havoc for CEOs, shareholders, and the like. Well, Gemini, aliens are real. Discuss. I haven't seen one, and if I haven't seen one, they ain't real to me. But I do want them to be real because I love a good probing. Sam, your thoughts?
Well, for me, what bugs me the most is that I do genuinely believe that the people who are doing all of this knows that they're causing damage to the environment. You know, they're not naive. These people at the very top, I'm sure they're aware of this.
They know.
So
they've known since the 70s.
Yeah, for
there's
some
articles
reason,
and reports by, I think it was Exxon Mobil and Shell, that they were very much aware of what was going on, and that's why you know, there was a lot of thing with the ozone layer raised in the 80s, and by the 90s, the oil companies were just like, fuck, we need to just ramp up propaganda and climate change denial and all this kind of shit.
But the point is that like all people unfortunately have been so influenced by movies, they just assume that all these billionaires are going to live in space, or they're going to live underwater, or they're going to have a biodome or some shit like that. And that's not the case. And these billionaires, they don't want to be stuck in one fucking area. They want to be able to go everywhere in the world. They want to spend their money, live that billionaire lavish lifestyle. But they're not going to fucking do that if they destroy the fucking planet. And so I just don't get, you know, their mindset. They've got so much fucking money. They could be thinking of alternative ways of like making money out of alternative fuel sources instead of going down this particular route that's going to end up fucking not only the planet for us, but for them and then their future generations as well. It makes no sense, their mindset on this. I just can't fathom why they would do this, regardless of the money.
I mean, yeah, this is it. But I think with oil, they get a quicker short-term return on profits than they would with, say, green energy. And then with green energy, you know, the argument would be, well, why the fuck am I going to be paying? Like I've always argued the fact that once we are 100% green efficient for heating and electricity, why the fuck should we be paying energy bills? We should be paying a maintenance tax of something minute, like £200 a year or something like that. But you're taking the fucking, you're taking the energy from the earth. It's coming to you natural, and you're going to be charging me £400-500 a month. You can fuck right off with that. And I think that's what they're afraid of.
And yeah, I mean, I'm semi off the grid.
Yeah,
because I've got solar power and stuff like that. You know, I love looking at my app. I'm just had a quick look at it right now. Our battery is 44% full at this particular moment, which is not bad considering we're at this time of the day. It's going to last, you know, several hours. By the time the following day comes along, it's going to start replenishing, even on a cloudy day. It's awesome. I love it. You know, my bills have been in credit for the last few months.
Lovely.
So yeah, it's really good. Like, you know, we got it in April, and our bills are going to be like, you know, over £1,000. Currently, our bills over £1,000 in credit. You know,
that's wonderful. Yeah,
yeah,
and that's what they're afraid of. You see, that's what they don't want. They don't want the system where we're completely self-sufficient and there are no corporate profits involved. They can't have that.
I've always said, you know, like I look at, for instance, as a Sahara Desert, for instance, there is that is a opportunity for somebody to just plant an upteenth amount of fucking solar panels and juice the fuck out of that area, which is constantly sunny, yeah, and create an electricity grid that particular way that could benefit society, whether it be even if it's just Africa, it would be so like that's a fortune to be made just on that alone. You know,
Well, yeah, like countries
energy
like.
and all of that. Yeah, I mean,
Sorry, you carry on, Zam, and I'll talk after.
what I'm trying to say is that you've got an endless supply of energy, and these corporations, they hate paying their staff. Or if you create all these different ways of creating energy, the machines would be doing it. You wouldn't need to do it yourself. You wouldn't need to you would need less maintenance and stuff like that. It would be it's just a way of just creating so much more money in the most passive way possible. It's a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned. You know, I mean, they'll be in control of it. Nobody's in control of the sun, but if you own the solar panels, which is generating the money, then you control that, and then you could sell the electricity created from that. But they don't want to do that. If you own the generators and the dams and turbines that create wave energy or wind energy, you can sell that. But nobody's doing that. It's just fucking stupid. You know,
Well, I mean, so Libya before the fall of Gaddafi was leading the way in basically moving to greener energy. And this is a country that produces a fuckload of oil. But even they were doing it. I know there's countries like Tunisia, Algeria, I think Morocco as well, that are practically coming off of the grid, much to the chagrin of the American corporations who don't like this kind of shit. But there are countries in Africa that are going greener. You just never hear about it because then everyone will turn around and be like, "Well, hang on a second, what about us?" And the reason they're going greener is because they don't want to be depending on foreign like energy sources or burning, having to find constant stream of electricity when they've got the fucking sun there in the desert, and they could be completely self-sufficient. I'm pretty sure, like at one point, the UK was going to do a deal with Algeria to like run fucking wires through, across the Med and all this kind of shit to get electricity from there. I don't know what the hell happened to that. But then again, we were going to get grants to put solar panels in our houses here. I remember when David Cameron was championing it, and all of a sudden he's like, "Yeah, no," because it was working too well. Yeah,
it's a story for you. Sorry, 1 second, but boss man, like just for some reason our chat in Streamlabs doesn't work. It's all fucking up.
Oh, I can see it. I can see the chat.
Oh, really? Okay, fine. You can highlight it then, but I can't highlight shit.
It's an electromatic turbine. It uses no power. Yeah, we know all these lovely turbines. Love it. I'm all for it, guys.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like this. I mean, I don't know how we solve this because, because the energies aren't just in the what's it called, the Conservatives' pockets; they're also in Labour's pockets. So even if, let's say, for example, the next election, the Tories get turned out, which seems to be like that's the way it's going, we still have a party which is funded majority by the energy companies. So
yeah. I mean, look, we're
whoever
fucked.
Gets in power, they're going to get bold. They're going to get sold out anyway.
Yeah, we're fucked. We're fucked with that regard. That's why direct action is to go after the people causing all of this. I've said it before. Like they'll always tell you, "Well, violence doesn't solve anything." Yes, it fucking does. You think unions fighting for our rights did it peacefully when the governments were trying to fucking crush them and raid them? No, they fucking fought back. The poll tax riot, there was a riot for a reason because the police fucking provoked them. And people were like, "No, we're fighting back." So never ever let anyone try to convince you that violence is never the answer. It fucking is. Because if you make these people fear for their life, and I always get myself in the shit for saying this, but I'll say it anyway. If you put these people in fear of their lives, you'll get fucking change. Okay? Look what happened with January 6th, how they absolutely shit themselves and how easy it was If they were better coordinated and knew exactly what they were doing, they could have done a lot more damage. But they got to the capital and they're like, now what? I
Yeah,
don't
they
know.
almost caused an insurrection. It was
Yeah, we need more
it was
I do not want more nuclear power either. I just
But look, unfortunately, what it is though is that the very people who would be affected by violence are the ones influencing people to cause violence elsewhere,
yeah
and refocus their directions, which is why, for instance, like without getting too much of a tangent, you got rich and powerful people who are the ones you need to target, but they're telling you to go after the trans or something like that. It's just so easy to change their focus, make culture war issues why the reason why your life's so shit, even though it's the very people who are telling you to focus on other people who are making your life so shit, so you don't focus on them. It's sad how people are so duped by these fucking rich and powerful people. So
yeah absolutely. Rick, look, yeah, of course it's clean but it only takes a minutiae thing to go wrong, like Fukushima after the tsunami and the damage that's
I beg your
happened in that
pardon.
era. Huh?
I beg your pardon. Sorry.
But the damage and the pollution that went into the sea after that happened, it's just like, we're just a natural and because we're in a climate like catastrophe every fucking day. I know the UK is pretty mild in comparison to a lot of other countries, but because everything's so erratic now, I just wouldn't go nuclear. Just solar and wind for now. Or just stick a turbine up Zan's ass with the amount of gas he produces. We'll be self-sufficient in no time.
This is the reason why,
what
by the
power
way.
off? I mean,
Yeah, 3 Mile Island, Gemini, exactly. What's that? They got the sugar-free sweets there, Zan.
Yeah, they've almost run out. I need to buy another batch, man. But you know what I mean? Yeah, wind, solar, wave. I mean, we're an island. We should be able to get all of that. Like
Yeah, mate. I see some people down Tottenham with some awesome waves as well, man. We can fucking harness that. But yeah, there's more solutions to nuclear. I can't stand the nuclear because again, with nuclear, that's just about private corporations profiting from it. Whereas, natural shit, it's just, nobody should be profiting from it. We just pay a maintenance fee. Anyway, that's the news on Rishi Sunak and climate change. Next, we're moving on to scumbag celebrities that always try to be a beacon of positivity, but behind the scenes are absolute shitbags, allegedly.
I want to start with this one. I really want to start with this one.
Well, we're talking about Lizzo.
Oh, you're going to go with Lizzo? Okay, fair enough.
Yes, well, you can, whoever you want to talk about next, you're more than welcome to. But we'll talk about Lizzo. So, and the reason I bring this up is because I am I
have no idea what she's done, by the way.
I am what you would call a high-calorie human being, which, by the way, that's my favorite terminology for calling somebody fat. I saw that in a meme somewhere, like 2 high-calorie humans tried to rob a bank or some shit like that, and I pissed myself laughing. So from now on, when I say the word high-calorie human, I mean fat. Anyway, so of course we know Lizzo. She's always about positivity, love yourself, love who you are, and all this kind of, shit. And it basically turns out that a bunch of her dancers who worked with her in the past but got fired or let go or left or whatever have accused her of a plethora of things. One of those is fat shaming her dancers, saying, the kind of industry we work in, people can get fired for being fat, which is something she allegedly said to one of her dancers who's put on a bit of weight. She also allowed a culture of kind of bullying and harassment and allowing one of her dancers to push religious beliefs on them. And the more infamous one is forcing her dancers to eat bananas that were pulled out of sex workers' vaginas in Amsterdam.
What the hell?
So that's essentially sexual harassment and sexual assault, really, if you're coercing somebody to partake in a sexual act. So yeah, real shitty person, and it's a shame because I kind of like Lizzo and her personality. It was always like bubbly and all of that, but at the back of the mind, there's always that niggling thing that just like with Ellen DeGeneres, there's like always that niggling thing. Like, I bet they're a real cunt behind the scenes, and apparently, yes. So and I always say, look, people that always project a certain thing. So let's with Lizzo, we'll say this. Oh, love your body, be who you are. I'm happy with what I am. I'm not scared of being fat and all this kind of shit. The reality is, they look at themselves in the mirror and they fucking hate what they see. They hate it, and then they'll find any excuse to project their misery onto other people, even though in the media they're portraying this beacon of positivity behind closed doors. It almost always happens where they're just fucking not happy with where they are and they want to. We see it with like gay right wingers who constantly attack the LGBT because they're not happy with who they are because they're religious and it's telling them they're a sin and all this.
Republicans and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
And so this is the
Yeah.
kind of situation we have with Lizzo. Gaz, thoughts? Me
All
too,
right,
Rick.
well-
I would have eaten that banana. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, on a serious note, I've heard
We'll talk
some of
Elon
it.
Musk, Gemini. Don't worry.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
I've
no,
heard
you
s-
carry on.
I've heard some of this. I really don't know what's going on, so again, I want to hear Lizzo's side of it before I make a determination of who's telling the truth, who's not. But
Yeah,
if
we
it's
have to
true-
wait for. I mean, they're suing her for this, and again, it's all allegedly. That's what I said, allegedly.
Yeah. But if it's
we'll
true,
wait and see.
I think that's in not very nice things to say, especially for somebody who is. I think she stands up for a lot of women who are larger. I don't want to use the word fat. Who are larger, and I think that she has done a lot of like body empowerment stuff. But if that's all like a facade that she basically likes to conform like everybody else, I think that's a little bit much. With the whole banana thing, which is something I've not heard of. Yeah, that is sexual assault. Because unless they said, "Oh yeah, like give me the banana," then that's their free choice. But if you said,
They're constantly just berating them until they did it. Yeah.
Yeah, because like if they choose to do it, then that's fair enough. That's their own beeswax. But if she's there going, "Go on, eat the banana," yeah, that's a little bit too much, because there's a power. There's a power dynamic there.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
exactly.
I think
you feel like if you don't do it, you're going to get fired.
Yeah.
Rick, I'll come to this comment in a second. Zam, your thoughts?
I knew nothing of Lizzo, and in a way, I'm not kind of surprised that she's not the squeaky clean person as it is. And even people who I do like and admire, they got elements of them that are not perfect, and that's fair enough. I mean, nobody ever is, as long as to a degree your heart's in the right place. But this, eating fucking bananas out of veggies and stuff like that, like.
Yeah,
it's disappointing. Like once again, there's people who you admire who let you down, and that's just becoming a common trait as well now. And it's look. Sometimes some people have like a checkered past. I have that. I promise you that. But I have at the same time always tried to. In the last several years, I've tried to be a better person than I once was. Be active of that, be very conscious of that. I don't want to be who I used to be, and I want to repair all the damage that I used to have done and be that better person. So sometimes if people do have a past and they have tried to improve themselves, we shouldn't hold that against them that they've tried to better themselves. Regardless of their past, and what we see of them now is not necessarily who they used to be. So I think those things are important to take account of as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to go back to some comments here. No large patient, but genuinely happy with their fat bodies. Yeah, and if they tell you they are, they're fucking lying. I'm not happy. So there's two things here. You cannot be happy with how you look and that, but there is also the thing of okay, you accept what you are, and you're comfortable enough to just be like, fuck it. So, like I've said before, if I go to the beach, I'm not there for you, I'm there for me. So, tops are coming off, man boobs and gut are hanging out. I spare everyone the indignity of wearing a Speedo at the beach, even though that's my preference from my younger days. I wear shorts, but tops off, tits out. I don't give a shit. Like I said, I'm comfortable with my body, even though I'm not happy with it, but I'm comfortable with it. And when you get to that level, it becomes an afterthought. But don't fucking take your insecurities out on other people. Rick B
Yeah,
with his love for Elon
I'm
Musk. No surprise there, Rick.
I'm fat as well. I'm dying to lose weight. Hence, I'm doing whatever I can, eating the sugar-free sweets that make me fucking,
Yeah,
you
but they're
know,
still full of carbohydrates, mate.
yeah, I know what
Gelatin
to
and all
do.
that. So,
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
and I'm
like,
with Rick B on this one. I judge the people who wouldn't eat the banana. Yeah, absolutely. Fucking, you don't want that kind of negativity in your life.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
But these
as
things do
somebody
make me
whose
shit
weight
myself for
has
fucking
like gone
drinking.
up and down, has yo-yoed a lot because unfortunately it's the one way I cure my depression. I want to be thinner because the other day, as people know, I'm trying to be a wrestler. And trust me, get my fat ass up the flaming where it needs to get. It's harder when is easy when you're a lot thinner.
Well, also don't forget you're 40, mate, and it's a lot harder to lose weight when you get to our age.
Indeed,
Yeah, unless you're literally fasting yourself thin. Which
which
yeah,
is what I did last time.
yeah, same. I've done it loads of times before, and it only lasts a little bit. Right. So that's Lizzo. Damn, you were dying to talk about somebody, and it wasn't who I. So go for it, dude.
Yeah, I'm dying to talk about Fabian Marta. Do
Oh,
you know who Fabian
oh yeah, I've got
Marta
him
is?
on here. Yeah, carry on, dude. Yes, yes, yes. Go for it.
Now, oh man, this I don't even know how to take this because I shouldn't. I'm definitely not happy, but there's a level of glee in me that is like I knew it and I told you so. Fabian Marta is the guy who funded the movie The Sound of Freedom. It's the film the right wingers are wanking off to is to do with is an anti-child sex trafficking film, starring Jim Caviezel and all those fucking dickheads, and yeah, Fabian Marta, who helped fund this movie, has been charged with kidnapping and child trafficking, to be more precise. Now there is an article, if you'd like me to read just a bit of it.
Yes, go for it.
Okay, so this is from Unilad. It goes, one of the people who crowdfunded the anti-child trafficking film Sound of Freedom has been arrested and charged for child kidnapping. Fabian Marta was one of thousands of patrons to help fund the creation of Sound of Freedom, which follows the true story of Tim Ballard, Jim Caviezel, a former U.S. government agent and founder of the anti-trafficking group Operation Underground Railroad. The film was released in July, with Marta's name appearing in the movie credits among investors who helped bring Sound of Freedom to theaters. Facebook posts, which have since been deleted, appear to show Marta expressing his pride in funding the film and seems to feature images the same man who arrested by the police on the 23rd of July by St. Louis Metropolitan Police. The police department confirmed to Newsweek that Marta from Chesterfield, Missouri, was arrested after being charged 2 days earlier with felony child kidnapping. The exact nature of the incident which led to Marta's arrest is unclear, but in Missouri, child kidnapping is a Class A felony. If he's found guilty, Marta could face just 10 years or life in prison. Martha had been Marta had been sorry, let me start that again. Marta had his bail was set at $15,000. That's £11,700, but was released on the 24th of July on personal reasons following an initial appearance in court. Martha's next court date is listed in records as August the 28th. Prior to his arrest, one of the posts, which has since been deleted, saw a Facebook user praise the Sound of Freedom for tackling a tough subject. It took extraordinary. Oh, it's just going on about that now. But the point is, Fabian Marta is a nonce, allegedly.
No surprise
And
there, but
I'm not surprised. I'm not
no, but
surprised at all.
I'm disappointed because look, I didn't have any issues with Sound of Freedom. If you're gonna make a film, you're gonna make a film. Like I can't stand people that want to fucking mute or shit on art in a way that you try to get it pulled from the cinemas and all this kind of stuff. Like Sound of Freedom, if it's a QAnon wet dream, it's a QAnon wet dream. I don't care. It's their art. They can do what they like with it. Just quickly though, Mel Gibson didn't direct that film. It was directed by Alejandro Gomez Monteverde.
No,
But
Mel Gibson just basically said he enjoyed the film and people went ballistic because of that.
yeah, but look again. I've got no issues with that. But the two issues that I have with it is that the guy that the guy who's the story is based around did say that they embellished a lot of stuff, and they tried to make out that it was just kids that were saving. Well, it wasn't just kids; it was kids and adults, and they skew a lot of the information in that film, which is not. I mean, look, given the subject matter you're dealing with, I think it's a good, it's a good fucking thing to do. I had no issues with it because the subject matter was really, really good. Sadly, it's coming from a group of people that in the last fucking month, I've had no fewer than 30. Oh god, how I was 31 or 32 posts of mugshots of right wingers that are doing the same thing of claiming that gay people and trans people are groomers and pedophiles and all this kind of shit. And there they are with their fucking mugshots being arrested for saying the very thing that they accuse other people of doing. And here we have Fabian Marta. The guy makes a fucking film about child fucking trafficking and is a goddamn child trafficker. How does that make sense? Like, what the fuck? How does that make sense? And what goes on in your mind to think that I'm going to fund this film about the very thing that I'm doing and boast about being prideful of it, which is a sin, by the way, given they're all Christians. All right. And then you get fucking caught for doing it. Like the absolute balls of these people to think that the cameras aren't going to turn on them. It's Gemini, it's Hollywood logic. Whether they're right wingers or liberals, it's fucking Hollywood logic where your ego, your narcissism is so goddamn big. You have no concept of consequences that you think that you're immune to this kind of shit. And you go and fund a fucking film about child trafficking and you are one? Oh my god. It's like fucking Steven Crowder accusing trans people of being everything, and he's sitting there slapping his dick in everyone's face.
I mean, look, for me, like the right like to go on about virtual signaling. This is 100% right wing virtual signaling about them and child sex trafficking. They don't give a flying fuck about it. They're just trying to be on a pedestal, going, "Look, we give."
They
a shit
do it. They're the number one fucking causes in America.
They're the ones who do it. I mean, they didn't give a fuck during Trump's campaign when they were separating parents and children from crossing the border and all of that shit, and basically trafficking those kids, God knows where. They didn't give a flying fuck about that, whatsoever. Don't mind fucking separating kids from parents who might be LGBTQ because they have an issue with that. Ron DeSantis is currently doing that now in Florida as we speak. It's happening. I've seen people's TikTok videos. Like a woman might end up cutting her hair short.
Sorry for cutting your face off. Just put some comments up.
No, yeah, a woman who cut her hair short was deemed to possibly be a lesbian, and obviously because Ron DeSantis has got anti-gay laws going on in Florida right now, and he's separating kids from gay parents. Even though this woman's not gay, she might be deemed as gay because she looks like a lesbian now with her short hair. Boom, they're going to separate her kid.
Yeah,
it's incredible. You know what I mean?
Ridiculous. Gaz.
Yeah.
Gaz, go on.
Well, I mean, as a Christian myself, I'm just going to say something that needs to be said. Right, we need to sort out our own house before we start talking about somebody else's. You know what I mean? Because, the thing is that people always talk about, how predatory flaming trans people are. No, they're fucking not. The predators are in the fucking churches. And it's time that we Christians did something fucking about it. Right, this has gone on for far too fucking long. Sorry, I'm being very far about it.
Just talk. Don't start apologizing and.
I'm not apologizing. I'm saying we need to sort out our own house. These twats need to sort out their own house. And this guy, as you were saying, I mean, what kind of thinking, as you were saying, goes through your head? Like, I'm going to do the film about the guy who was embellished, but even that, I'm doing the very thing he was against. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
Gemini, what do you owe me a drink? Why is that? And
and
so nothing you don't know.
and I hate to say it, Gary, but I'm not having a go at you, but it's not just Christianity; it's religious institutions in general. You might be a believer yourself, but there's a lot of people who are in religion simply to manipulate. That's the whole point. And they tend to be in positions of power where they can get money and fucking fiddle with kids. And that's the whole point of why they're in it in the first place, unfortunately. And yeah, those are the places where the focus needs to be on, because it's terrible that they're focusing on gays and trans. Another thing as well, like a lot of right wingers recently are all in on Andrew Tate. I saw Candace Owens recently interview Andrew Tate. It was fucking a joke. Andrew Tate has been convicted. Sorry, not convicted. He's been charged with sex trafficking of minors as well as of young women. He is that person that they are all worried about, and yet there he is on a pedestal, and the right wing are putting him there. They stand for nothing. The right wing do. They stand for absolutely nothing. They're just virtual signaling motherfuckers who pretend to give a shit about issues when they genuinely don't. All they want to do is rake in money from gullible fucking idiots who fucking buy all this, who eat up the propaganda like a bunch of fucking fools. That's why these same fucking fools were willing to give up their lives for a fucking orange dictator on January 6th, because they're so easily manipulated. And it pisses me off that I share a planet with these fucking cunts.
Yeah. All right, I got to the comments here. What's this general principle? I don't know what that means. He is a human trafficker.
Andrew Tate, I think he's talking
Oh,
about.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it just, but the problem is when your media is like, oh well, he said this, they said that. Both sides have valid opinions when it comes
Oh,
to
God, that
shit
both
like
sides.
fucking sex trafficking and all this kind of shit. It doesn't help the situation. Instead, you put people on your show and you fucking berate them with the facts. If there's facts involved, I'm not saying just because you don't like their point of view, you just berate them, but you berate them with facts. So you bring on Andrew Tate and say, listen, mate, you're a fucking sex trafficker. You like them young, and you're a rapist as well. From basically with all the facts that you yourself have admitted to on your own goddamn podcasts. It's you know the
Yeah.
the the evidence that the Romanian police is secondary compared to what you yourself have fucking. Uh, oh, I owe you a drink is what the general principle comment meant. Oh, okay, cool, no worries. All right, sweet.
No, but just
Bacardi and
without
Coke,
going
please, my
too much on a
final here.
sidetrack here, this guy Fabian Marta, he helped create this movie Sound of Freedom. I'm not surprised that he's been put in this particular position. Um, and yeah, I just want the right wing to stop. I mean, they never will, because they always part of who they are. But stop claiming other people virtual signal when all you do is do that, and then you don't even stand by the principles that
Yeah.
you espouse. It's just, I'm fucking,
It's impossible to get through to people who always have a victim mentality anyway. Right wingers more than well, I can't say right wingers are exclusive to the victim mentality, because there is a chunk on the left, but the
yeah,
general consensus is when you get pushback, when you give pushback to right wingers of to why their behavior is really shitty, they start playing the victim. Well, Dan Wootton, prime example. All the evidence is there
yeah.
showing that what he is. He's a blackmailer, and he's all this kind of other dodgy shit. And he's sitting there trying to say, "Oh, the woke mob are the woke media is trying to bring me down and all this kind of shit." It's like, mate, what about all the evidence there? You even confessing to it as such, and all this kind of shit, and the video evidence being there, and you're still trying to play the victim in this. Trump, prime example. How many? He's been indicted for a third fucking time. It's just like,
Impeached twice and
and
God knows
impeached twice.
other
Don't know
things
how many
before
like.
he became president. And what it drives me nuts. I mean, if you, I tell Trump supporters,
Jesus fucking Christ! Cut his dick off.
He's been done for for
Nice.
fraud regarding Trump University,
Yeah. I don't want to repeat all the shit that he's done. But what I'm saying is, despite all the evidence, his own people confessing to him doing the fucking things that he's just been indicted for and arrested for and all this kind of shit, and he's still making his own people believe that he's the fucking victim. He even took 60 million pounds from his own fucking people to pay for all his legal fees.
No, but they don't know that though. That's the thing. Like
No,
left
they
wing
don't
media
know.
and
I
liberal
think
media
it's Jesus.
will tell you that, but these people watch Fox and Newsmax and ONN. They'll never know about this. Only a handful of them might do, and even
No,
then, they
Rick.
might not necessarily
Oh,
believe
for
it.
heaven's sake, Rick.
No, Rick. I'm sorry, mate. I'm not saying there aren't people on the left that have a victim mentality. I'll give you a prime example. There was a fantastic YouTuber that I loved watching called the Illuminati, and
Yeah.
she got exposed for being, a piece of shit, basically an abuser, a bullier, somebody who was very controlling of the people that worked with her. She was just a piece of crap. Her videos were really good, but when she got exposed, she'd come out playing the victim. Every time she'd get called out, she'd come out and play the victim. And then eventually, when all the evidence was mounting up against her and she couldn't play the victim, she just disappeared. And she just disappeared now. And nobody just, there was no apology. There was no, like, I will try to do better, all this kind of shit. She still maintains that she's a victim in all this. And she just kind of disappeared and shut up when there was no defense. There's that. But that's one person. If you compare that to the right, every single time, every right winger who gets called out in their bullshit, tries to deflect, tries to smear the other side, tries to play the victim, makes up some bollocks like the man is after them and all this kind of shit. We see it all the time. Farage, Wotton, fucking Trump, fucking Steve Bannon, fucking Ron DeSantis, Nick Fuentes, fucking Rishi Sunak, Boris Johnson, fucking Matt Hancock. Every fucking one of them. Oh, it's never their fault. Never their fault. They never apologize. It's the man coming after them.
What annoys me the most as
Tucker
well
Carlson,
is
another one.
They're the people who support them will defend them to the hilt, and this is what annoys me about the right, because they genuinely worship. They have a level of worship that the people on the left don't necessarily do. Like, I was a big fan of obviously Jeremy Corbyn. Don't fucking worship the guy. In America, big fan of Bernie Sanders. Never fucking worship the guy. But you got motherfuckers. You worship people like Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro, right up to Donald Trump. The cult worship for that guy, a politician, worshipping a politician is disgraceful. You should never be doing shit like that. I'll never be able to fathom that.
It's just fucking policies that people like. It's the policies.
Yeah, but we don't worship these people.
No.
You know what I mean? Like you hold them accountable. These are the people in the States who look at him as second coming of Christ. By the way, there's a beeping sound coming from one of you two. I have no idea who the fuck it is.
It's me.
I can't hear it. Oh, but
what is it, man? Somebody got fucking you're in the office or something.
He's a busy man. Getting text messages.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. Again, I just want to repeat, Rick, if you're still around, we're going to be talking AEW and WWE, and I know you're a massive.
Where's this message from Rick? I can't see it.
Wrestling fan. This one here.
Show me.
I've put it on the thing. Can you not see it on screen? Okay,
I can see
it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right, but the thing is,
Rick is trolling.
Yeah,
he's
lovely. Though. Rick is lovely. Like he's got a great fucking sense of humor. It's Akira from the Fanboy Rage page, and I know him from another group. And he's hilarious. Well, I don't mind if he has a different political opinion. That's fine. He loves his wrestling, and that's why he's in the Fanboy Rage page group. How do I smell? Not being gross, just curious. I smell of a mixture of Gillette, Ice Blast thingy stuff, and nothing. Yes, I shower twice a day because I'm fat and sweaty, but I don't really particularly smell of anything. My body just absorbs all odors, and I am usually
I
odorless.
smell of this.
And I'd be able to smell,
Oh, you
but
can't
I
see
could
it.
smell my own body. So if I do smell of BO, I am very because I'm very sensitive to smells. So if somebody's wearing aftershave, I start getting headaches if it's really strong. So that's why I don't really put on aftershave and all of that. I smell lovely.
I'm very self-conscious to smells as well, Ginger, because working as a cabbie
Oh yeah,
in a closed space, I don't want myself to be BOing and shit like that. If I do, I carry my hand sanitizer on me. Try to keep myself fresh that way. So I'm
sandalwood and
smelling of
dragon's
Dettol.
blood, lovely.
I smell of Dettol quite often. I've had people tell me I smell of Dettol.
Well, I'd
I'll
be
take
licking
that
you because I love the
every day of
fucking
the
smell
week.
of Dettol.
All right.
I
Rick, right. But the thing is that that's because we in the left are trying to promote and protect that side. The right want to take away rights from minorities. Literally, look at America now. How many states is it that there are literal laws out, outlawing trans rights right now, based upon nothing, not based
Well,
upon science, not based upon facts, not based upon evidence, just based upon
well,
prams who don't
Let me
swear.
let me
under the
Right.
put
sea.
something onto that. Yeah, something onto that exactly. In the last year, since this whole attack on trans people has started, all right, there has been 400 laws that have been issued uh, in America, anti-trans laws. 460 of them have passed. Now that is why we crusade for on behalf of minorities is to protect them because the rights don't care. They don't even care about themselves. The rights are about themselves. It's me, 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 mine. Okay, that's what the rights are about, and they'll happily turn on each other. Whereas on the left, yes, we can be puritanical in our expectations of people, which is fucking ridiculous. But the whole point of being on our side is to say, look, we're going to fight for you, and even if you're on the right, you're still working class, you're still on our fucking side. It's whether you realize to come on our side. It's basically we just want an equal playing field for everyone, but that's not what's happening now. And we said it as soon as they started attacking the trans people. We said they're going to come after gay people, and that's exactly what they're doing. The UK was making huge strides and was happily plodding along on trans issues and all of that with doctors and all this kind of shit. All of a sudden, because of the fucking Americans having an issue with trans people that they just fucking made up because they're bigoted cunts, all right? Though J.K. Rowling played a huge part in that as well. All of a sudden, we're passing laws in this fucking country to deny trans people medical care and to deny them the identity that they want. Where's the fairness in that? And eventually, they're gonna fucking come after gay marriage, even in this fucking country. So, understand why we do what we do. We don't. Your fucking people, Zam's fucking people. We
Yeah,
we
yeah.
do what we
It's
can
crazy
to
because
protect, all these kind of groups. That's the
you know,
whole point. It's
you know
not
what's so
virtue
funny because
signaling. It's protecting.
it's like
Oh, for
the
fuck's
enemy
sake,
of my
Rick.
enemy,
Sorry. Right.
the enemy of my
Rick,
enemy.
do you want me to tell you something honest? Right. Listen. Right.
He's
Trans
trolling you,
people
dude.
have been using women's bathrooms since the ancient Greek times. No one gave a fuck until now because people have been persuaded that this is more important than the climate change, than the financial crisis, than people actually starving on the fucking streets. No, it's important that people be fussed about what if people have a fanny or a dick and appear into a toilet standing up or sitting down. That's what people have got to care about. No one gives a fuck who's in the toilet next to them. Nobody. So,
Yeah.
But that was
fuck
proven
off.
when the
Right.
Republicans tried to push the issue that
Sorry.
it fell flat. It fell flat. So that's when they switched it and they did what they always do. They went for the children angle to call them pedophiles and groomers, and that worked. And that
Eastern European.
that
Yeah.
they were taking over women's sports and stealing the identity of women, and that worked because it managed to rope in white liberal women as well. By white liberal women, I mean centrist fucking gentrifiers who are fucking
Well,
up my area. All right, they managed to rope them in with the whole fear mongering. It's classic fear mongering, and I'm shocked people don't see it. Like they've done it with every minority group over the years. In the 80s, they did it with gay people.
Yes.
In fucking, in the 2000s, they did it with Muslims. And
Well,
now we're just
what
doing
I
it
want
with
to
the
say,
trans and gay people again. We're back there. It's
I mean, it's just that also at the same time their allies are constantly changing, and now right wing Christians are now allying with right wing Muslims.
your mic's gone, Duke.
Yeah.
Okay.
My bird fucking. Anyway, they do have this
Your
like
birds are tough.
the
It's
same
trying to mute you.
guys. Oh god damn it! She likes the microphone, or he likes the microphone. I still haven't checked the gender of this thing yet,
Oh,
but
get a
nevertheless,
fake one so they can sit on that.
yeah, I was gonna put it over here. Come on, go over there. My point I'm trying to I'll get at is that there was a time when the Muslims were public enemy number one, and they were even allying with gay people, saying, "Look how Muslims treat gay people. We're far more tolerant than them," even though they hated them themselves. But now they are actually aligning themselves with Muslims nowadays,
Yeah.
and the gay people are being ostracized. The trans people are ostracized because the gays because the Muslims show no tolerance towards gays. In their majority locations, in the Middle East and stuff like that, and the Christians actually admire that. The right wing evangelicals, they admire that, and that's what they want to be themselves. And it's very sad. That's why people like Andrew Tate now, who's obviously converted to Islam, or so he says, he's just grifting. He's able to still remain popular because Islam is a bigoted religion, like most religions are. So yeah, I mean, you yourself are very unique, boss man, because in a way your doctrine does tell you to think a particular way, but you don't, and that makes you kind of unique. But you
No,
don't
I'm a
you go
Quaker.
against
I'm
some
a
of
Quaker,
it.
mate.
Oh, you're a
Yeah.
Quaker, like
Quaker.
Quaker Oats.
People
Yeah,
can easily give their opinion on trans toilet
I mean, Sam,
usage.
I
Hang on,
hate
hang on. 1 second. Sorry, dude. 1 second. Sorry. But issues like climate change because are too big for the general voter to see or get their head around. That's why politicians. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, Rick. That's the thing. You're not wrong. It's a snappy thing, and it's something to fearmonger against that won't affect profits either. If climate change was a great distraction because the bourgeoisie were going to profit from something else, they'd happily allow climate change to become a real issue. But because that affects quite literally the very foundation of what makes capitalism tick, which is oil, they're never going to focus on that. And they're going to muddy the waters as much as they can to make sure that there's so much confusing evidence out there, even though you can literally just fucking see it for yourself, how it changes day to day, that they don't want you focusing on that. And that's why they'll say, oh, okay, well, now we'll focus on trans people. And that is failing big time. That and abortion is failing big time for Republicans because they're set to lose a lot of fucking seats in the next election. So now I just say wait and see what they focus on.
Which is why they want to
next.
change the laws.
Yeah,
They
they want
want to
to
make things like
push the
25 and
laws
shit
through
like
as
that.
much as they can. So even if they lose, it will take a miracle to kind of change it back and all this kind of shit. But just look, when the trans issue falls on its ass at the next election, they're going to focus on something else. What that something else is, I don't know. They'll go back to the well. Probably a lot of anti-China rhetoric. Maybe focus on another minority group.
Maybe the gays again.
Maybe the gays, or just keep blaming the fucking left for everything, even though we're not in power. So,
well, yeah, they like to double and triple down and stuff like that. I mean, they're doing the old everything's woke shit like that. Even though when you try to ask them to define what woke means, they haven't got a fucking clue. I mean, they know what it truly means to them. It's just a way of hiding their bigoted fascist mindset.
Yeah,
In that term.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, back to what you were saying before, Sam. I mean, I'm a Quaker. I mean, my pastor, or whatever you want to say, is actually a lesbian woman. So, and she's
enough.
far more than gay. But anyway, back to Reed says, right? It's an easy issue. All you have to say is, do you give a shit about who you're in the title with? No, then
Sorry, I'm giving you guys the bird.
Hey, well, I love so on the toilet issue. Again, there was a trans man that posted a picture. They looked like me, skinnier, but they were shaven head with a big beard, and they said, "Hey, ladies, if you're still classifying me as as identifying as a woman, then fine, I'll happily go into the toilets. And let's see what your reaction is if you see someone like me use the toilets. You can't say shit because you classify me as a woman. So that
Rick
alone
B's,
caused a huge stir when it happened.
I want to go to Rick B's next comment. By the way, the trans community should be smart and happily use the disabled toilets, which lots of, but they're not
What?
disabled, so they shouldn't. And then secondly, I use like autistic people and stop reading to children.
Oh,
Yeah, look,
fuck
I
off
have no
with that
problem.
shit. Sorry.
Come on,
Sorry. Right,
look, so
can I
start.
just go on a bit of a rant, Rick? Right, autistic people are not children. They're very high functioning. There's different levels to autism. You prat. Stop talking about things you do not know about. Sorry.
Yeah, you see, he sounds very. I mean, your mate might be a cool person, but they sound like a piece of shit right now.
Well, yeah,
And
I mean, you say things like this, and it's just, again, you're falling for the bollocks, Rick. I'm sorry to say it, but as a fully grown man, you should know the difference between being fucking propagandized against and what are the facts. And the trans, it's not, it's like the whole drag queen thing, reading
treating to
uh
children, like, come
reading to
on.
children thing. It's a non-fucking issue. They've been doing it for decades, and it's just more about accepting that people are different. It's just about accepting appearances that are gonna look different, and it's very effective and it works well because you see like younger generations that just don't give a shit. They don't care. It's when they get into their little groups eventually and they start believing all the shit. Like I've seen my own fucking friends who never gave a shit, didn't know what the fuck was going on with trans people. All of a sudden, they're experts on the issue, and I'm like, fuck off. You don't know shit about trans people. You don't know what the fuck they're going through. And my biggest problem with people is they don't fucking talk to trans people. Okay, it's the same with the whole like, hey, Mr. System. It's the whole thing like, it's a whole fucking thing with Muslims, for example. There was all this shit made up about Muslims during the height of like 9/11 and the years that followed and all this kind of shit. And all these assumptions made about them and all this is like, did you fucking talk to them? Did you go and spend time with them? You don't know what the fuck they're going through, the kind of hell that they live through. The Muslims dealing with their own fundamentalists is the same like us dealing with the fucking far right. It's the same kind of shit. There's always that lingering threat of violence, and you don't know where it's going to come from, and all this kind of shit. So I say, before you make assumptions about trans people, talk to them. You're always going to get one or two pricks that are going to be in the fuck on social media who just do stupid things, and everyone's going to generalize and think that's all trans people, when that's like one in like 200,000, for example. So there's always going to be those idiots. There's no denying that. But the reality is, and I just fucking told you, and we just spoke about Fabian Marta, is that the majority of diddlers and nonces, traffickers, and all this are on the right. Okay. And
Yeah.
it's the people that are constantly protesting and making these accusations that are getting called out. Nick Fuentes, an open out fucking Nazi, says that the age of consent shouldn't exist and he should be able to marry a woman from the second they are able to procreate.
Matt Watts goes
So
on about fertility on 16-year-olds and stuff like that. They're children. Remember that 16 is still a child, regardless. And he's obsessed about that. Child marriage is very common amongst red states. They tried to bring out laws in certain states to ban child marriage, but the Republicans, the right wingers, halted that. So kids are still getting fucking married. It's ridiculous. So please stop going after the fucking trans. Yeah, they are just a scapegoat for fucking right wingers.
yeah,
Andrew Tate as well. He's talked about how he likes them young as well.
exactly.
Please.
So
Yeah.
and this one here, change happens slowly. It was happening slowly. It was plodding along nicely. Again, it's when the right wingers decided for no fucking reason, okay, to start focusing on trans people over one small bathroom issue, because that's where the grain was, and then they lost on that issue, and so they started using children, cynically using children, which both sides do that, by the way. Okay, but one had far more horrific consequences than the other one. All right. That's why attacks on trans people have skyrocketed, suicide rates have skyrocketed, laws being passed for absolutely no reason other than to show what a malicious cunt you are to your base have passed. Okay. And you should know what trans people will go through if you worked at Heaven. I've been to Heaven. I used to spend every fucking month
Nightclub.
there. The
Yeah.
nightclub.
Again,
Yeah, I've been
Every
there.
yeah, fucking great club. One of my favorite clubs. Why? Because it's one of the few clubs in London that play good old house music. Everywhere else is fucking garage and drum and bass, and I hate it with a passion. Whereas Heaven, I was guaranteed, and I was guaranteed to pull a bird as well, because you know
Oh look,
when you bust
it's
out
just
the
a
dance
sidetrack a
moves and
little
they
bit.
find out you're straight.
Like there's this one girl I was looking to bang, and we went to Heaven and stuff like that, and I found out it was like a gay nightclub, but there was lots of straight people there as well. And lo and behold, one of the people I saw there was Matt Lucas, and this was about 20 years ago. And then in my cab, Matt Lucas was in my cab, and I told Matt Lucas, I actually met you 20 years ago in Heaven, and he told me, I don't remember, but he doesn't, but he does. I mean, I don't blame him, you know what I mean, but he does. He has been to that club before. He does know that he's been to that club. So yeah. So
I
but
mean, he's
yeah,
been openly
it was
gay.
pretty
He was
cool.
openly gay from the
Yeah,
start.
yeah,
And
yeah. It's on Rupert Street, isn't it? Oh, no, not Rupert Street. No, it's
I can't remember. You have to
It's
go
only,
down the fucking that little mall thing, and then it's tucked in there.
yeah, fucking.
Plus, the thing is, Rippy, is that like we have a lot of well-meaning women writing books like, you know, what's it, Irreversible Damage and shit like that. People who think they're intellectual but they're not. You know, people like Helen Joyce. You know, people like that, and like making people things much more difficult than it needs to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Katie Porter.
But again, the reasons you'd see so many straight people in that fucking club was again because these are straight people that were into house music, and you just couldn't get good house music anywhere apart from the gay clubs. Or you have to go all the way down fucking Elephant
Mate,
and
the
Castle
drag
to
queens,
Ministry of
man.
Sound. It was
I remember the
too
drag
far.
queens standing outside that place. It was like probably the first time I've really seen them. They were like, they were so fucking tall. Yeah, yeah, they were tall
Yeah, it
people,
was
big
awesome.
guys anyway,
Next to
and they're
Charing
wearing
Cross,
heels
yeah,
and shit
that's
like
it.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, next to Charing Cross.
Oh yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
I've only been there the
that's it.
once, and it was over 20 years ago. And I
Oh,
was trying to bang this bird. That's why I went.
nice.
You know what I mean?
I used to go. So when I was like,
his name I've forgotten.
I used to go like every month. They used to do like the big kind of house night with some of the best DJs you can think of from back in the day. So from 99 to 2002. So you would have had your Paul Van Dykes, your BT.
Love
There was
Paul Van Dyke.
yeah, you know, your Oakenfolds, your
Hit and miss on him.
I don't like. I'm not a fan of Oakenfolds. One or two good
I'm
tunes.
hit and miss. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hit and miss.
But there's a couple of you know, that era of just these phenomenal fucking DJs, Judge Jules, you know,
Utah
Beatles,
Saints.
all the Utah Saints, all this kind of shit, you know. And so yeah, I you just get to know the fucking regulars and all this kind of shit, and that was great, you know. But yeah, okay, so we're at the hour mark, so moving on from politics. We're going to be talking film and TV. I'm going to go straight into wrestling because I still got the Rickster here. Now then, there's been some drama unfolding, not just in the AEW women's division, but also the WWE women's division. So with AEW, there was a whole story that came out from God, I forgot the name of the fucking wrestler now. She's like French Canadian. And she worked at one live, one live, what was it, Rampage or the other one? What's the fucking Wednesday show? Dynamite.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all this kind of shit. And she kind of like talks about how
That's
like,
AEW you're talking about, okay.
Yeah, AEW and how basically toxic the kind of women's locker room is. Like people like Ruby Soho was like very frosty towards her, and Dustin Rhodes absolutely berated her for not like berated this female wrestler who just did one night there about her work ethic and not like hitting the ground the way she should have and all this kind of shit. And when the Cultaholic guys were talking about it, they were like, well, no, we watched the match and she did the best that she could, given how fucking shit the division is. And she was only in the ring for 1 minute. 1 minute. That was her time in the ring in this like multi-women tag match. And she's saying like the reaction like she got in the locker room after the fact and all this kind of shit was just absolutely fucking like revolting. And they're saying like, you know, like Britt Baker has too much pull down the locker room. She's a bit like a Hulk Hogan that can kind of shut down decisions and all this kind of shit. And basically it's come out like Tony Khan just does not give a fuck about women's division. And it's evident. You can see it. You can tell that they don't give a shit about the fucking women's division. And, you know, so just again, hearing like that division is as bad as the fucking men's division with the elite and all the drama they cause. And in WWE, they're more kind of frustrated from the creative point of view. So it's not backroom drama or anything like that. It's just like matches are getting pulled from SummerSlam. So Trish Stratus was meant to have a match with Becky Lynch, and I think that's being pulled. And so there's creative frustrations on that with the WWE women, and it kind of feels like everything's reverting backwards, back to the fucking diva era, where it's just like, yeah, just put those tiny little shorts on, go parade out there for 1 or 2
Get your
minutes,
tits out, yeah.
get your fucking tits out, wear what you can that's revealing. And we want more matches like Alpha Academy and the Vikings, that kind of jokey shit with the 2 women in that. We want more of that and less of the other stuff. And that's what it kind of feels like. And it's kind of shit to see. So, Gaz, your thoughts?
Oh, dear. The AEW women's division has been so bad for a while. I mean, I don't know whether you guys saw it, but there was like a sign which said book the women's division better. What was I? Something along those lines anyway. I can't remember exact lines.
The women's division better. Yeah, that's all it said.
Yeah. And it's like, when your fans are even saying that.
Even the cameraman focused on it.
Yeah. And the thing is that Kenny Omega's supposed to be in charge of that same division for a start. So I could like thinking, well, Britt Baker, with the best woman in the world, has only had 100 matches, and total. I mean, before she got into AEW, so she shouldn't have any sort of pull. If they had like somebody who'd had maybe like 200, 300, something like Athena, that would make sense. But they don't. She's in ROH or whatever. So I mean, to be honest, they just need to like kind of. If I was Tony Khan, I mean, I'm not. I'd put somebody in charge of that, like an Aaron Anderson or like a Jake Roberts, or somebody who knows what they're doing and knows how to book wrestling as written wrestling, and say, right, we need to focus on. Or get Scott Amore. He did the knockouts in TNA.
Did a fucking great job there.
Exactly. So get him in to go, right, what do we need to do? And he'd probably go, right, we need to build up that person and make them the main guys. Right. And all we do is focus it. No tits, no ass, just proper wrestling. I think they could do well there. That's what I would do if I was Tony Khan. I'm not.
Yeah.
With the WWE, I don't know. They booked, what's the name, Rhea Ripley, okay. I'm trying to think who else.
Yeah, that's it though. It's only like her and kind of Charlotte Flair again that are kind of getting booked right, but the rest of them, they're just getting jumbled around and forgotten about. And again, it just stinks of Vince McMahon's interference and changing his fucking mind all the time. And it's sad to see because like the women's division made huge leaps and bounds, but it's just not been good in the WWE for quite some time.
Good.
Who doesn't? Me. I didn't like them. I just found them like awkward and horrible, degrading. And worst of all,
I want to watch wrestling if I want to jerk off to something.
The tips were fucking horrible, like bad boob jobs. So many bad boob jobs. I know it sounds shallow coming from me, but I don't want to see shit fake tits. I hate fake tits. I hate them. It's very rare.
Really?
I fucking can't stand it. I love
fake tits, man.
Plastic surgery is an instant turn off for me.
I love fake tits, man.
It really is. I don't care if I sound shallow. I don't care. Tony Khan said the women's division had the lowest segment ratings. He's doing best for business. When Jamie Hayter comes back, it will get better. But the thing is, it's got the lowest segment because it's badly booked, and it's been badly booked from the start. And if it was good, like it's the same like in the days of the WWE Divas, it was the piss break part of the show. So everyone went for piss break. But you know, when the four horsewomen came up and all this kind of shit, and suddenly, you know, you also had like
Main
Soraya,
eventing Mania and
yeah, and then you have them main eventing WrestleMania and all this kind of stuff. Suddenly, it became one of the most must-see divisions, and the ratings went up as a result of it. But if you're booking it like AEW is booking it, yeah, then of course the audience go back, ah, it's just a fucking throwaway match. I'm gonna go for a piss. Like in the middle of a fucking normal episode, although it was the 200th episode, in the middle of a normal episode, Hikaru Shida wins the women's championship from Tony Storm. Tony Storm's had the championship for like a month, if that. It's just like what? There's such a throwaway thing. It's just like that division's just an afterthought, and it's a shame to see it because I remember from the TNA Knockouts division and how fucking awesome that women's division was. Like so many amazing wrestlers, and this was like a decade before WWE even contemplated putting women's wrestling, take it more serious. The Tony Storm versus Sudo match was the main event of Dynamite 200. I just don't feel like a big title like that should be changing hands on a TV episode. But you know that's just me. But okay, it was the main event. I didn't know it was the main event, so at least that's something. That's something, and it's good to see that they did that for the women's division. You know, do more shit like that. I'm all for it. And Rigby, I don't like fake boobs. Yeah, right with you, mate. I don't like it.
Well, yeah, would you know
Sam,
who I like to bang on who I like to bang on a regular basis?
Yeah, we've heard
so
it a
they
million
have
times.
to,
They have to.
so they have fake boobs. You know what I mean? And all of that. So yeah, but I got nothing to add regarding all this wrestling, but I don't watch it.
Okay, fair enough. So you guys would have definitely watched Dark Side of the Ring, which did Bash at the Beach, which was their best episode. And it was about fucking time we had an episode that was laden full of like shit talking and drama and back and forths and all this kind of shit.
Mate, it was a funny episode.
Yeah, it was.
Like, not since Collision of Career that you could watch an episode and not have to worry about tragedy and shit like that. It was hilarious, and to see like a lot of focus on like this quartet of controversial people: Meltzer, Bischoff, Russo, Hogan. Oh, glorious. But that's the like this. So much stuff has revolved around those motherfuckers. Not just Vince McMahon, but those motherfuckers as well. That it was good to see a show based. This was probably the closest we'll ever get to a Hulk Hogan Dark Side of the Ring episode.
Yeah, we'll get a Hulk Hogan one. We'll get a Hulk Hogan eventually when he cops it. There might be one, but it's the sad part is, and this is what pisses me off with Dixie Carter and how stupid she was. She sees that Hogan, Bischoff, and Russo were responsible for the eventual downfall, especially Hogan, Bischoff, and Russo were responsible for the downfall of WCW. Of course, the TV executives didn't help because they didn't give a shit about wrestling either. Ted Turner did, but he sold it off, and so the new guys just didn't really give a shit. And then you bring them three into TNA, and you made it fucking 10 times worse. It's just like that trio are cancer on the fucking industry. Hulk Hogan, as much as like I enjoy some of his shtick and his character and his mannerisms and all this kind of shit, he was still part of what I hated about WWE and why I didn't like watching it, because I hated the Hogan era because I knew what was coming. It was very predictable. And to have him carry through, WCW did amazing when he changed to the heel. But by the time 1999, 2000 comes in, and he's still trying to be the top guy, even though it's not a ratings draw, it's just unacceptable. And he should have stepped aside. He should have let his ego just fucking stop, because him and Nash and all them lot were just dragging the company down. And they had, weird grandfather clauses. So anyone that gets a new contract that gets more money than them, then they get the same amount of money. It's just fucking ridiculous how that company functioned. There's also 2 hours per show. Men's wrestling will always be more popular, so it will take significant. It doesn't have to be as popular as men's wrestling. It just give it some respect. That book it better. I mean, AEW's booking in general is not great, with exception to Collision. Collision's a great show. Where do you watch Dark Side of the Ring episodes when they're released? Oh, I'll send you a link, Akira. I'll put it in the Fanboy Rage page, and you can get it there. Yeah, because I just watch it on, unless you know any sites where you can stream wrestling, them sites, that's where they usually post the episodes of Dark Side of the Ring. This Bash at the Beach I loved it. It was a hilarious episode. Vince Russo, just the guy's a fucking can't stop lying, bro. Guys,
I probably what's the word? I'm probably more agnostic on Vince Russo than most people because I think he gets a bad rap. But I do agree with the whole. This episode was just glorious, just to see these egos going back and forth about everything. I mean, I know that we're going to get Hogan. I knew that. But I knew they were going to get Meltzer, I know they were going to get Russo, they were going to get Bischoff, and I know Bischoff and Russo hate each other with a passion.
Yeah, I think I can post this in here. Yeah, absolutely. And they did work together again. Let's see. Oh, you pay for all your wrestling? All right, fucking nerd. Here you go. This is where I usually go to watch everything. I can't be forking out on pay-per-views. I ain't got that kind of money. Dark Side of the Ring Gobbledygooker episode now. Did they do a Gobbledygooker episode?
No. They haven't
That's-
done the Shockmaster. They haven't done Shockmaster yet, which is something I'm waiting for them to do.
Yeah, well, I loved Shockmaster. Typhoon. Love Typhoon. Natural disasters.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
That was great. No worries, Rick. That whole Shockmaster thing was fucking great. But I don't think that's going to warrant a Dark Side of the Ring because, it derailed his career, but he's still stuck around. You can see him. He still does signings.
Yeah, like Bam Bam Bigelow getting the most unworthy episode of Dark Side I've ever seen.
That was a disgrace.
Because I think to myself, drugs tend to play a part in episodes of Dark Side of the Ring, but usually the people who take it, they're also quite kind of sinister in their own right. There was nothing about Bam Bam that warranted
nothing.
Dark Side regarding his personality. Nothing. You know what I mean? And usually when a lot of these wrestlers start doing drugs and stuff like that, it tends to be Vince McMahon, in the way he treats his wrestlers and he overworks them and then they resolve to self-medicating. I mean, honestly, like the amount of people who've died under the age of 40 who work for Vince, it shows that he overworks his guys. He overworks them to fucking death. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but that whole industry is just crazy how much they work. It's just like because again, there's no concept of hey, maybe I stop using them for a little bit, use other guys. Fucking have a rotating roster. But no. Work the top guy to death. That's why fucking they end up playing part-time all the time, and even that's a lot. So it's just ridiculous. And so many of them get driven to the fucking grave far too early. I'm surprised some people are still around, like bloody
Jake the Snake is the most
Snake, Abdullah the Butcher.
At one point, I'll tell you who would still been with us. It was Scott Hall, but he had an accident, which meant he couldn't get up.
Yeah,
and he died on the floor. I mean, it's horrific when you think about it. It was an accident. It's Shad Gaspar as well, like
drowning, trying to save his own kid.
Yeah, it's
fucking horrible. So, those things, they can't be helped. They are what they are. They're not
accidents.
Yeah, your heart exploding like fucking Eddie Guerrero and all that. That one still hurts, man. His death still fucking hurts, man.
It's almost 20 years, and he is still fresh in people's minds. I mean, it's incredible. The legacy that he's left, that people still talk about him. There's two matches of his that I still watch. I still like going back to the No Way Out match against Brock Lesnar, where he won the WWE title.
Great match.
It's a great match, and one of my favorite matches of all time, in my opinion. My favorite ladder match, my favorite SummerSlam match, and probably one of the greatest stipulation matches ever is Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero for Dominic Mysterio ladder match. I mean, it is superb. You know, it's and the bumps they take and all
The
that,
match
and
was
it's just
excellent. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, they had to improvise at one point because Vicky Guerrero came out late. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, she did the fucking Papa Shango and came out late and almost fucked things up, but they improvised pretty well. You know,
Yeah.
um, yeah,
Yeah. Eddie was great, man.
it was a good match.
But his best stuff was in WCW. Like week in, week out, he just put on fucking. That's
All
just
of them
what.
were though. All the
Yeah, all of them.
WCW guys, all of
Yeah,
them, all their
all,
yeah,
all their best stuff was in
Jericho
WCW.
and yeah,
All of it.
Benoit
Jericho,
and yeah,
Benoit,
Rey Mysterio.
Kidman. Yeah, Rey Mysterio. Exactly. Uh, I'm looking forward to this. I want to see what the twists and turns are going to be in MJF versus Adam Cole. I hope Adam Cole actually works a good match though, because he hasn't fucking had one in a while. Omega versus Osprey 3. I'll take it or leave it. I'm not that fussed about that one, but I'm looking forward to All In. I want to see what more matches get involved. Also, before I move on to this comment, will CM Punk be going to All In with his belt? And will there be a crossover with MJF? That's going to be interesting to see. I was having sex with a girl in a travel lodge in Clapham when a friend phoned me and told me Eddie had died. I couldn't carry on. You went soft after that,
You
did you?
know, I usually kind of remember where I was when certain information gets given to me. I've forgotten where I was regarding Eddie. To tell you the truth,
I was in this room probably.
but I do. But my first instinct was how's Benoit gonna react? How's Chavo gonna react? You know,
Oh, Benoit was never the same after Eddie died. Never the same.
yeah,
It definitely contributed towards his demise mentally.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a fucking shame. But that of all the wrestlers to ever die, man, that one there because he was cut down. He was still in his prime. Just fucking
yeah. He wasn't
what a
even in his
great
40s yet.
character. Yeah,
And you know,
yeah.
it's a shame where Vicky Guerrero is gone because you know, I mean, obviously, we recently found out regarding how she's defended her boyfriend over her daughter regarding sexual assault allegations.
Yeah.
But prior to that, I used to admire Vicky Guerrero for actually extracting herself out of her husband's shadow and making herself a major character, probably one of the greatest valet heels, manager heels,
She was
you
lovely.
know,
She was awesome.
yeah, and like to really like you know the excuse me gimmick and
I
all of
agree.
that,
Yeah.
and like and I'm really upset that she's thrown all of that away because she won't stand by her daughter. Really pissed off with that. I mean, Chavo luckily is standing by his cousin, and he's got her back, and probably like the closest family she's got right now.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So,
it's such a sad thing to fucking to just to basically what's the words basically to have your whole persona just destroyed and your career end over defending somebody. Like, okay, I get it. If you don't get along with your daughter and there's clashes there, that's fine, but you're defending your fucking husband for doing what
your
he did.
boyfriend, yeah,
Your boyfriend, there's no fucking excuse for that. That's disgusting. Doesn't matter. What if they did it to some complete stranger? Are you going to still defend them? There's no excuse for that. So she deserves to be,
yeah.
fired and forgotten about.
Yeah, I agree. But these things like they upset me because
Damn right she was.
once again, like people who you admire, they let you down. You
Yeah,
know, and this is the difference once again between the right and the left, and me and cult worshippers. You know, I get upset when people let me down. I mean, I don't necessarily worship them, but you can admire people, and yeah, unfortunately, they let you down, and that was the difference with Vicky Guerrero.
yeah,
So yeah.
exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, moving on to just quickly just talk about Taylor Swift, who I don't
Oh,
like her.
no, no.
Oh no, go on, Sam. Sorry,
Stick with
go on.
wrestling.
Yeah, okay.
SummerSlam's coming up. It's gonna be on. Is it tomorrow or the day after?
It's
What
the day after. It's Sunday.
Yeah. Are you guys gonna do a watch along for that?
is it this week?
Um,
No, no, no. I'm working on Monday. I can't.
I can do it.
Oh, there you go. G Man
Fair
can do it.
enough.
Yeah.
Fair
All
enough.
right.
Yeah. So yeah. SummerSlam. we'll speak to Cheetah about that. See if we can arrange something for you. Hopefully, maybe he can BTS you as well. But yeah, SummerSlam. There's no chance Jey Uso is going to win, is it? There's no
Nah,
chance.
nah.
Yeah. But
Nah.
does it concern you that with him basically going through the entire WWE locker room that there's nobody left for him anymore? Was it
They're
maybe
just trying to
Bobby
get him.
Lashley?
They're just trying to get him to a certain amount of days as champion. I don't think he's going to drop the belt till WrestleMania. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, but I think personally, like if somebody like The Rock decides to come back, I'm not saying The Rock should be the person that beats him because that'll be the worst person to beat him because you need somebody on the roster to do it. But like, are we getting to that stage now that he needs a feud with somebody like The Rock in order to keep it interesting because
No. I think
there's nobody left for him to beat anymore.
I mean, they butchered they butchered the Sami Zayn thing. It should have been Sami Zayn to do it, and they've butchered that. And now fucking Kevin Owens is badly injured, so Sami Zayn is in limbo. And what they should have done is if they're not going to drop the belt anytime soon, then they should have still carried on with Sami Zayn in the bloodline and still been with Roman Reigns and backing him up. And then you build him to a program to WrestleMania next year to fucking topple him. Jey Uso deserves to win the championship, and if he does, I will mark out because look, if you've watched us do wrestling stuff over the years here, I've always been a huge Usos fan since day one. I love because I'm a big fan of the tag team divisions when they're done right, and I was a big fan of the Usos, and I always thought they were fucking massively underrated. And again, there you go. You thrust them in the spotlight with the whole bloodline stuff, and it goes to show you how incredible they are. Their matches with the New Day were phenomenal. Their matches with the Wyatt family were phenomenal, and all the stuff they've been doing now, especially when Jimmy got injured and Jay kind of got thrust into the spotlight. Stuff has been amazing. So if Jay does by some miracle win, I think it's a fantastic person to topple him because it's a family member and it's a fitting end to the storyline. And then if you're not going to build on it and you're going to let Roman Reigns go after that, you put him in a program with fucking Cody Rhodes or whoever and just go with that. Or I don't know. But I would love it to either be Sami Zayn or Jey Uso for sure.
Well,
but he's not going to win. I agree with you, Rick. He's not going to win.
Yeah, look, regarding who does beat him, I mean, there's still plenty of time between now and WrestleMania for WWE to organically create somebody within the roster, like Sami Zayn was, to then end up being a viable opponent for Roman Reigns. Because
You've got
Sami
Gunther,
Zayn,
you've got fucking Scottish bloke.
Prior to Sami Zayn being in the bloodline, nobody would have even given him would have batted an eyelid on him being the guy to go up against Roman Reigns, but they organically did it.
Yeah.
That's what they need to do. They need to organically find somebody that the crowd's going to get behind, somebody who's paid his dues within the industry, which is why Jey Uso is getting the plaudits that he deserves because he's paid his fucking dues.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big
So
time.
yeah.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. So I mean, I'm not gonna watch SummerSlam. I'll probably catch it the next day if I hear good things about it. But yeah, it's only because I'm fucking working on Monday. Otherwise, I would have done a watch along. I'd laugh if they got Brock Lesnar.
No more Brock Lesnar. No more Brock Lesnar.
Oh, I bet they do that. Them two again. Like, was it their fifth match?
Yeah, it's like, please.
I would have put it past them.
What about Bobby Lashley? Is he?
Nah, he's off creating a new Hurt Locker faction now with some tag team and all this kind of shit. But no one Bobby Lashley either. They've been done. They're nothing special.
I look at people like the old dog Sheamus. Like, if you could just do a good program and like maybe do like a Ric Flair style.
Well, Sheamus is very over, so I don't see why not.
Yeah, something like that. There's people there.
There's plenty of people there. You got Drew. What's his name?
Kingston as well. Like, this is a former WWE champion. Just push him the right way, and elevate him, and He's worthy of doing again. Big E, after breaking his neck, he's come back. Just give him another chance. Even Xavier Woods, he's so popular. If you do a good storyline
Yeah,
with him and
Gunther
good
should
angle and
be.
create him, you can all of these guys are capable. Every wrestler is capable of being elevated. I mean, the fans backed Daniel Bryan when he was in the WWE, and he made himself to be a credible wrestler, even though he was smaller than your average. Anyone's possible. Just if you just do the right sort of storyline.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there is.
So
There's a big enough roster there to fucking get him in as champ to dethrone Roman Reigns. It's just how you book him, basically. But I one of my top picks would be Gunther because that guy is fucking incredible. He could drop the belt to Drew McIntyre, and then you can get ready to go into a program with uh, Brock, not Brock, with Roman Reigns, and But then who's the heel, who's the face in that? Because I think the crowd are automatically going to be cheering for Gunther because he's fucking over as hell. But yeah, we'll wait and see on that. Anyway, that's that on wrestling. Taylor Swift. Just a quick one on her. Obviously, her current tour is just smashing records all over the fucking world. Absolutely crazy. Even caused a kind of seismic shift or like a mini earthquake in I can't remember what area they were in. Was it San Diego or something like that, or in Seattle or some shit? And that, so yeah, her tour is going crazy. I'm not a Swift fan of her music, but I'm a fan of her because she's cool. And I just wanted to bring up that the hundreds of millions that she's made in her current tour, 55 million of that she's given it as bonuses to all the staff that worked on her tour. Every single one is getting like a bonus out of that
who's
55
who's
million.
this? I missed this. I was away from. I was AFK.
It was Taylor Swift.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, but
Good
she
to
has
hear
a
something
history
good.
of doing this. Like I said, I'm not a fan of her music, but I'm a big fan of her because she has a history of just doing that. She kind of shares the wealth and all this, and she goes through men like men go through women, and I fucking champion that any day of the week. But yeah, I just wanted to quickly share that. I thought that was a nice little. So I recently found out Taylor Swift used to babysit Jeff Jarrett's children because they were neighbors. Oh, really? Bring that right back to wrestling.
Actually, that's one person we forgot to mention regarding Dark Side of the Ring was Jeff Jarrett, who was pretty much a pawn in all of this. It would
Yeah,
have been
poor
nice. It would have
bastard.
been nice to also hear from Booker T as well. Unfortunately, we never got to really hear from him. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I would have
yeah,
loved to have heard
what a
from
great
Booker T.
episode, man! What a great
Yeah, it
episode. I
was
wish,
great.
I wish, I wish Shredder was with us when we were reviewing it. Very lucky to have Jose.
Yeah,
Um, but you know what I found the most amazing thing was what they sold WCW for to Vince. 2.5 million for WCW and 3.1 million for
million
the
of
archive.
tapes. Yeah,
Like Vince must have fucking he probably couldn't believe his luck. What I mean, to get WCW for that bloody cheap. Incredible. No
yeah.
wonder he bought it.
Absolutely
Yeah.
ridiculous. When Jeff Jarrett was trying to get a private equity firm together to pay 60 million, and
You
this
mean
company were
Eric
like,
Bischoff, you
nah,
mean?
fuck it. What?
Eric Bischoff, you mean, not
Sorry,
Jeff
Eric
Jarrett.
Bischoff. I said Jeff
Yeah.
Jarrett because of this comment. Here,
Yeah.
Jeff Jarrett. Mate, the guy still fucking incredible wrestling at like his age.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some that just defy aging, like him, Sting, etc.
Because I never saw Bash at the Beach 2000. I never seen the
Oh, I
pay per
did.
view.
Oh, I
So
did.
so watching it all pan out, and by the way, I never knew how the episode was going to be regarding Bash at the
Yeah,
Beach. Was the entire pay per view a clusterfuck? But no, it was mainly to do with like a
the
certain
main
segment
event.
of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, and just to see like just to see Jeff Jarrett do the job with like Finger Poker Doom Part 2, and then in like Hogan's face, like Hogan's bewilderment always makes me laugh. Like it was the same bewilderment he had when fucking uh Shawn Michaels was overselling in their
yeah,
match at
yeah,
SummerSlam,
yeah.
and then obviously like for Rusev to come out and just basically do a shoot on Hulk Hogan. Oh, it's beautiful. But
Yeah,
Jeff Jarrett said something really, really fascinating. He said, if you confuse them, you lose them, and I think that was
yeah.
that's yeah.
We knew what was like even back then. Like we knew what was going on. Like I turned to my mate Richard at the time, and I'm like, okay, I bet you any fucking money Hogan fucked what was meant to really happen, and so now they're doing this shit, and that was basically the beginning of the end for us with WCW. And then when WWE started poaching all the best talents, like the what was the faction with fucking uh, Guerrero and Perry Saturn, Benoit. I can't remember what they
I,
were
thought,
called in
I can't remember. Yeah.
the
Perry
faction they
Saturn,
were in
Benoit.
WWE. But when they
Yep.
took them and they took Jericho, and they took well, my first one that I was shocked that they got was the Giant, who Paul, Big Show. I was shocked at that because he
Yeah,
like
he joined them before the takeover, though, didn't he?
Yes.
yeah. He joined. That's what I mean. Like he was the first one to kind of go there to WWE, and I was shocked because I was just like, oh, they're gonna ruin him, and they did. They've completely fucked the Big Show from the moment he stepped foot in the in WWE compared to what he was like in WCW. He's sitting there fucking launching himself moonsaults off the fucking ring, and like the most athletic big bastard that I ever seen. And what fucks me off is these idiot WWE fans who never fucking watch WCW and shit on Paul White like they know the guy. I'm like, you don't know shit. You go watch him as the Giant in WCW. You fucking tell me if he's not literally the greatest big guy wrestler of all time, and he's up
Oh,
there with
without
the
a
best of
doubt.
them. The guy was like
Yeah,
phenomenal.
people go on about Andre the Giant. He's far superior than him.
Andre
And
the Giant was nothing special, man.
yeah, yeah,
He's
But
yeah,
what's
yeah.
Japan?
Like Paul
What's
White
Japan
can
take?
talk and everything. He can act. You know what I mean?
exactly.
He's
He was sorry. Would you
yeah.
say, guys?
Said what's Andre in Japan? It's a different beast. He
It
was
is a
doing like
different beast, but it is a different beast, but
But
it's
he's
still
lumbering.
nothing compared to the Giant. Nothing compared to him. Like
Yeah.
this guy was virtually a 7'4" luchador with some of the shit that he was doing in WCW. And the two is no comparison. The fact that he was keeping up with the kind of changing of the times, and then he just went to WWE, and I just thought, what are they fucking doing with this
Mate,
guy?
when they said when he was in WCW and you first see him, and they say he's the son of Andre the Giant, did you buy that? I mean,
Nah,
did you
nah,
believe
nah,
that? Because I
nah.
thought he looked a lot like Andre the Giant. I thought to myself, yeah, I mean, he's naturally a humongous guy. I thought, yeah, this makes sense. I genuinely thought,
Yeah,
yeah,
nah. I knew
but
it was
no,
kayfabe because again, like when you know Andre's biography, he only had like a daughter that he never really saw
I
and
had
all
no
this
idea
kind
about
of
that.
stuff. Yeah, he had a daughter that he
Oh, no.
never really saw. I mean, they were on good terms in the sense that look, he goes, look, I'm over in America, you're over here. It's just kind of fucking difficult, and they just kind of parted ways. Even his own daughter talks about it and that. But so I never bought it that he was
Oh,
over there trying
wrestlers were
to
never the best parents, were they? I mean, they were away all the fucking time.
exactly.
So
Paul
yeah.
White is getting back into ring shape and training. Oh, I don't want to see him now. And now he's a fucking,
He's always been like he's always yo-yoed with his weight, hasn't he? I mean, so
yeah.
I mean, so sometimes he was like over 500 pounds, and he's like just over 300 pounds. It's incredible.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't really want to see him come back now. It'd be like Mark Henry coming back now. I was like, maybe that ship
no,
sailed
no,
a
but
decade ago.
for me, there was always a contingent of wrestlers who were NWA guys who then went to the WWE and then went back to WCW when NWA became WCW, and there were people like Ric Flair, Lex Luger, the Steiner brothers,
Yeah,
Scott Hall,
Legion
Kevin
of
Nash.
Doom.
Like it's weird how you would see them on NWA, and then they would end up in WWE, and then WCW formed, and they end up going back to WCW. I remember once Lex Luger's being Hulk Hogan 2.0 didn't pan out, but that was because they did a poor job of transitioning him from the narcissist to Lex Luger,
Yeah,
Hulk Hogan 2.0. It was a terrible job they did, and plus Luger's got terrible face charisma. He's just a terrible face. So
But
yeah,
his,
that
Luger's WCW run was great. Like some of his matches,
I mean, real good.
really
his match
fucking
against Ron
good.
Simmons was fantastic. By the
Yeah,
way,
it's
Halloween
like
Havoc.
it's like a completely different person. Like I couldn't wait for his matches to finish in WWE, but then he goes to WCW and he's fucking launching around and doing his fucking moves and tossing people about, like all this kind of shit. And I was just like, fuck, is this the same bloody guy?
Yeah, it's because WWE likes you to wrestle WWE style matches.
Yeah, which is what I
I,
fucking hated about the products.
he still does it
Yeah.
now. To be honest with
Still
you,
does
I
it
mean,
now.
I wish I could give you access to my ICW account, right? Because the thing is that
That don't
it's got
surprise me. Sorry,
because
carry on. Go on.
no, because Drew Galloway, so Drew McIntyre, was in. If you watch his ICW matches compared to his WWE matches, it's like night and day because the guy has to stick to a particular move formula.
Always, WWE wants you to do your 5 moves of doom. I'm just going to call them that. I don't know what it is, but Vince needs to see the repertoire of a move set, and he fucking hates it. He literally hates it when you deviate from that. So once you get a certain repertoire of moves, he doesn't want you to see like even the best fucking wrestlers. You know what was coming with Daniel Bryan, who can put on some of the greatest matches you'll ever see. You knew what was coming with him. You knew what was coming with even CM Punk. Of course, John Cena was John Cena, but even the Undertaker, you knew what was coming with him, and it was just like, this is what I just fucking hate. WWE. I've only really liked it during like the early cartoon era before WCW became WCW, and then the Attitude Era for about 2 years, which was, I think it was like between 97 and 2000, and then a little bit during the summer of Punk where they had a few elements that were really going great for them, and then that's it. That's the only time. Other than that,
This is
I've always preferred other products: TNA, WCW, MLW.
this is why I was always a big fan of gimmick matches in the WWE,
Yeah,
because it led to deviation, because in a
yeah.
way, like you couldn't follow the formula. So gimmick matches, especially things like a ladder match or whatever, that it's not going to they're not going to be doing fucking like 5 minute headlocks in the middle of the ring, which I fucking hate.
No, I mean
You know what I mean?
that's a great fucking point. I think that's
Yeah,
probably why we all fell in love with the gimmick matches, because it broke away from the WWE formula that was so bloody
yeah.
boring. Of course, ECW helped a lot because we all fucking loved ECW when that kind of phase come up. The difference
I
is
will,
we grew past that. It was a
when I
flash in
saw
the
One Night
pan,
Stand,
huh?
when I first saw One Night Stand at WWE, so ECW One Night Stand the first time, and I thought to myself, wow, I've never seen, but I never saw ECW back in the day when
Oh, you never saw it.
So I mean, obviously, through the internet, I ended up seeing it properly, or to a degree, certain episodes and stuff like that. But I never got to see it when it was on the television like everyone else did. We were limited here in the UK, 4 fucking channels or 5 channels and all that
What are you
shit.
talking about, mate?
Yeah,
ECW was on Bravo.
really, I had no
Yeah,
idea.
yeah, mate, it was on Bravo. If you had
I had
cable
no idea,
TV, it was on Bravo. Yeah.
but the point is that when they did ECW One Night Stand, and I thought, wow, I've never seen wrestling like this. This is superb. You know what I mean? It's so not formulaic. It's done in a way that it's not that the WWE has never done it. It was like, I want to see more wrestling like this. But very quickly, ECW became an afterthought.
Yeah.
One Night Stand is the moment the pay-per-view was over. They couldn't wait to fucking get back to business as usual.
But the thing is that the really good matches they've had is ones where they
Me too.
deviate, the ones where they deviated from the formula. Like, for example, the Punk Cena match from Money in the Bank. That was one that didn't have a formula. It was literally like you didn't know who was going to win. People were pulling moves out of left, right, and center. People were teasing their finish. They did everything right. I don't know why Vince McMahon didn't watch that and go, that's what people say.
Cena and Punk, had great fucking chemistry in the ring together. They had great matches together, and it's always been an underrated rivalry. And you're absolutely right. They would deviate greatly when they did their matches. Even John Cena, I'll never fucking forget when he was doing like bloody moonsaults off the ring or fucking somersaults and all this kind of shit off of the middle turnbuckle against like CM Punk. And I was just like, you fucking have great chemistry with your opponent when you're happy to do shit away from your 5 moves. Like,
Oh,
yeah, Sam.
so I've kind of forgotten. Yeah, I remember now. It's regarding Daniel Bryan. Remember when the fans were all in on Daniel Bryan, they were shouting his name, they were doing yes, yes, yes chants and stuff like that. And then at one point, John Cena had to announce who his opponent would have to be, and eventually he said it was Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
If the fans were not constantly saying his name, would you think John Cena would have? I almost feel like John Cena was almost going to go a different direction, but he almost had to, like, he is the crowd favorite, he is the face. The fans are saying to him Daniel Bryan, and he knows where he stands in the hierarchy of the WWE, and he might have been told to say somebody else's name, but because the fans were saying Daniel Bryan, he listened to the fans and said Daniel Bryan. I always wondered if he was supposed to say somebody else's name, like Randy Orton or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you mean, but I don't
yeah.
don't think that would have been his decision to make. There's no way.
I
They
just
would
thought
have
that he can get
crazy.
someone like
He could
him
have
can
got
get
away with it because he was a
because
top guy.
he was the top guy. There was nobody bigger
Literally
than him.
the only
Yeah,
fucking guy. Yeah.
yeah. So I thought he could have got away with it, which is why he did it, because he's listening to the fans. But
If
one
that is the
person,
case, then that was the fucking right thing to do.
but it almost felt with the way he delivered it, like he almost not, I wouldn't say necessarily begrudgingly, but almost fearfully, like, well, I
Yeah.
hope Vince doesn't give me any shit for this, Daniel Bryan. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and I thought that was awesome, and because it didn't matter what happened back then, he took over, like, and the WWE couldn't do anything about it, and I
Well, that's
love
it.
that with fans. I love that because they did that initially with Zack Ryder, and eventually they buried him. And I love the fact that they did that with Daniel Bryan. And what made me happy was knowing how pissed off Vince would be about that.
Yeah.
I mean, knowing that he hasn't got control over the fans,
Yeah.
and
That was fucking. It's always great but it's great when they just take the momentum and they run with it. Like when again, Kofi Kingston was an accident. It was meant to be Mustafa Ali, but he got injured, so they put Kofi in his place, and then they're just like, fuck it, we'll just book him to win. And the crowd
he
lost
deserved
their
it.
shit, and he deserved it. He put his
That
time
was a
in.
great main event. Kofi Kingston versus Daniel
Yeah,
Bryan. I mean,
great main
awesome main
event.
event for WrestleMania as well. Like, and I
Yeah,
knew he was going to win it because I knew Bryan would do the job for him and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
because
because Bryan
Daniel Bryan
paid
will
his dues.
because
Yeah,
Bryan will do what's right for business and not right for.
yeah, exactly. He's a fucking professional. Yeah. Yeah, just we're the ones that pay. It shouldn't be Vince's fucking place to dictate anything. It's us that dictate shit. Whether you agree with it or not, that's the reality of it. Like, again, I know people kind of shit on it, but I loved it when WWE suddenly put the fucking belt on Jinder Mahal. I
yeah,
was
me
just like,
too.
that's great. That's what you
Yeah,
want. You
you
don't
want
want
to
to know who's
see.
going to be your
Yeah,
champion.
yeah,
And he
but
was,
people go on about bookings and stuff like
yeah,
that. But for me, unpredictability is far more satisfying. You
couldn't
know what I
agree
mean?
more. Do you remember?
Yeah,
You remember Santino Marella versus Daniel Bryan? That were the last two in the fucking Hell in a Cell.
Yes.
And
yeah,
what a fucking wrestling match they had. And we was
yeah.
like, it was oh, is he gonna do it? It's not. Obviously, we knew he wasn't gonna do it. But Santino Marella showed what a fucking awesome wrestler he was in that segment there, because it broke away from much of the comedy and all of that. And they did miss an opportunity there to kind of ditch the snake and make Santino Marella um, have him have a little bit of a serious push. But still,
Got
those
missed
are the kind
opportunities
of
is
best. Yeah,
WWE's repertoire, man.
it was
You know
still
what I mean?
a fucking great event. Like, I remember when Zack Ryder out of nowhere won the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. I was just like, that was fucking amazing. I didn't see that coming anywhere because they buried the cunt. All right, he lost it the next day to The Miz, but they still gave him that WrestleMania moment. And I thought that was incredible because at least he's had like the tag team belts a couple of times. He's had the US title and the Intercontinental title. And since he left or he got released from WWE, the guy's making fucking money hand over fist in the indies. He's like the top guy at GCW. He pops in and out of all the other promotions, and he's doing fucking phenomenal. And now WWE are like, we might want this guy back. And Cardona's like, no, because
Yeah, I
I
mean,
like.
WWE used to say to reach for the brass ring. He got himself over. I mean, you would think that WWE would appreciate when somebody gets themselves over, but it just goes to show that regardless,
Never
it's
in WWE's history.
it's all about who they want.
Yeah,
Not about who you want. That's why, like, I mean, for them to be so blind on Damien Sandow I
criminal.
mean, like to absolutely to be blind on him, knowing that this guy is super over, super talented. As Bam Bam Bigelow said, he turns chicken shit into chicken dinner because you put him in all these ridiculous sort of scenarios and he makes it work.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and yet you lose another guy. I would say Ken Kennedy's another one as well to a degree.
No, KKD was his own worst enemy.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Trust me, Zab, I know stuff that I'll tell you after the show about him that will make you know why.
There's one thing Kennedy said about how he was at a WWE autograph signing with all these other wrestlers, and he mentioned John Cena's name while talking about certain. He wasn't trying to shit on John Cena, but he's just talking about certain wrestlers. John Cena's name he brought up, and then all of a sudden the fans reacted to that and started booing. And then he kind of just went with that a little bit and mentioned his name. He got cheered. Mentioned John Cena's name. He got booed. And so because of that, apparently he got punished by the hierarchy because he was encouraging, as far as they were concerned, he was encouraging the fans to boo John Cena when he was just toying with the crowd a little bit, and because an opportunity came up.
You're not allowed to damage the brand. You see, he was damaging the brand.
He never intentionally damaged the brand, and people fucking boo John Cena regardless of the WWE wanting us to cheer him.
WWE, Vince is like the fucking most fragile piece of shit on the planet. So you step out of line just a little bit, and that's it. He's gonna fucking bury you. So, but Ken Kennedy's a fucking idiot anyway. No. Ken Kennedy was the.
Mr. Kennedy.
Yeah, he was great in fucking TNA. He had a great little run in TNA.
With Anderson, isn't he?
Yeah, Mr. Anderson. Fucking brilliant. Yeah. Absolutely. Do you know who I was thinking of? I was thinking of Fit Finlay for some stupid reason.
He's like... Really, I had no idea. I just looked at him as like a veteran wrestler who... I remember he locked up with Ric Flair, and I thought, wow, this is actually a dream match.
No, he was a great wrestler, but he was a trainer and all that, but he's fucking cock. But Mr. Anderson as well, he was very injury prone as well, which also stifled his career.
No, there's also other stuff, Ginger, which I'll share.
Yeah, that's I respect that. Yeah, that's fine. All right, well, moving on now from wrestling, gonna finish off with two shows that have just what
TV shows and stuff. I'm happy to talk about one right now.
Yes, some TV shows here. So I've got the director of Secret Invasion coming out chatting shit, and the Witcher executives coming out chatting shit. But before we do that, is there anything you want to talk about, Sam?
Yes, I just finished watching the train wreck that was Hidden Strike, starring the legendary Jackie Chan and John Cena.
Was that a series?
No, it's a movie.
It's a film.
Oh, right,
it's on Netflix, and I have to say that I knew it wasn't going to be great, but I didn't think it would be as bad as I thought it would. And I did mention in my review that in the future this could be one of those is so bad that it's good for sort of films, but that usually takes time for that shit to bed in for people to get that feeling about a film that's so bad that it's good, like Batman and Robin, for instance, because the moment that film came out, people panned it to shit, saying it was a load of bollocks. And this is a load of bollocks. Regardless of it having Jackie Chan. Now, Jackie Chan, he's like getting close to his 70s now, I think.
Yeah.
And there's many on many occasion with the action scenes and stuff, even though it looks like classic Jackie Chan, you could tell there's lots of quick cuts. There's no one takes or like there's no like 20-second one takes or whatever. There's lots of cuts,
Oh,
and
that's
you can
terrible.
tell you
Fucking
can tell that
Americans.
you can know. But the point is, Jackie Chan, he's just too old to be doing this shit.
He's
He still
69
seems to have
years old. Yeah.
yeah, he still has good mobility in him. He's not, he obviously keeps himself fit, but he's not the Jackie Chan of yesteryear. And unfortunately, that means you have like stand-ins and stuff like that, doing some of the stunts and some of the action scenes. If that's not Jackie Chan and stuff like
Yeah.
that. The chemistry he has with John Cena is pretty shit. I mean, they do contrast each other well. Like John Cena is like a good brick shit house who breaks through walls and stuff like that. Was the agility shown on Jackie Chan's part and his stunt double, obviously. But the storyline's bullshit. The action scenes are bullshit. The camaraderie's bullshit. You know,
Yeah. I mean, it's
it's just
evident in the reviews that the reviews have just not been fucking good.
yeah,
Yeah. It's
yeah.
just a shame.
It's really bad. It's really bad.
Yeah,
So,
can I talk about Netflix TV show that I've been watching?
yeah, go for it.
Yeah, go for it, mate. Yeah, yeah. Whatever you
So
want.
I started watching last night Captain Fall, and I've got to say it's easily worse than Velma. This is the worst animated series I've seen in quite some time. It's terrible. So basically, what it is, it's shocking humor to
Just
shocking
one
humor.
second. One second. 1 second. We'll get to you. Second up before I go. This week's episode of SNW. What was SNW?
Strange New Worlds.
Oh, right. It was a pile of shit, cringe, more evidence that Kurtzman and Akiva Goldsman need to go. Fair enough. You're on that Kurtzman hate train as well. I can respect that. Good night, Rick. Get woke, though. Yeah, Gaz.
Right.
Carry
So
on.
yeah, it's just shocking to be shocking. And the thing is that and the lead character is such a wimp. He's like, oh, I'm a soft and meek character. It's like, and then they just produce just random shit for just no reason. I mean, if it wasn't for Gotham, this would be the worst show of the year for me.
Oh, mate, I'm telling you, this is definitely going the worst show for me. I did an episode and a half. Now, one thing I have to say, fucking hate it with a passion when a character is socially awkward, bumbling, meek, kind of pussy that kind of lets things kind of go on around him. It's been done to death. Stop fucking doing it. I hate it. And this is the main reason why I could not watch this show. When you have a leading man that's a fucking annoying shit like that
Yes.
guy, that's it. It's an instant death to me. I can't stand all this social awkward because I don't want to sit there watch something and have this need to feel cringe all the time. I fucking hate cringe comedy. Ricky Gervais did it really, really well. So did um fucking Borat guy, Sacha Baron Cohen. He did it really well. The kind of cringe comedy where you're like, ugh, and all that. I don't want to fucking see it anymore though. It's literally dated over 20 years now. Leave it back in that era when it was good. And so that for me killed it. And it's a shame because the guys that did this show are the ones that did Norseman, which was fucking hilarious. If you've never seen Norseman, it's on Netflix. Go see it. So it's written by basically a bunch of Norwegians or Swedes that wrote this show. But this show, yeah, episode and a half. And judging by what you're saying, I'm not missing out on a goddamn thing.
Yeah, like one of the episodes, the one that I nearly quit on was they had what sounded like Ross from Friends going to a Chinese pharmacy. He gets Viagra, takes his wife to a swinging party. He can't get it up. His wife gets every hole done. He goes back to this guy. This guy goes.
His wife gets every hole done.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
She gets shagged in every direction in an orgy.
By who? An orgy. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. So then he goes back to the thingy. This guy who's an Oriental guy comes in. He's got a flaming a mystical pill, and he says, "Oh, take one. This is mystical." And this is literally the accent he has. I'm not being racist. This is literally the accent he has. And he takes it, and then all of a sudden, next thing we see him, he's dead in the morgue, and then we see a mortician pulling back the sheet, and we see a shadow of the direct penis being selling it, and she starts playing with it. And she says,
Jesus
she
Christ.
says,
Fucking
oh, and
hell.
she
I
says,
need to watch this right
I'm
now.
taking bottles.
I don't know, Richard.
It's experimentation. It's like, oh,
I
God.
can't wait to see this.
Yeah, you watch it. You probably love it, mate. Oh, Nigel Farage is joining us. What have I just come into? You've just come into us talking about a cartoon where a boner gets flicked around at a morgue. Great fucking time. Go watch it. It's called Fall Guy, Captain Fall Guy on Netflix. Pile of shit, but you'll love it. Yeah. So, okay. Any other shows to talk about?
You watched
I saw Hijack.
sorry.
Hijack with Idris Elba on Apple TV. I think it might be on Sky as well. Really good. Only 7 episodes, which is just about right for a show like this. It's basically about a plane that's coming from Dubai to England, and it gets hijacked. Now, why it gets hijacked, that kind of
Nigel.
Don't
expands
spoil it.
over the course of
Yeah.
the several episodes and stuff like that. It's Idris Elba. He plays a guy who he's a negotiator, but not in like terrorism or anything like that. He's a businessman negotiator. He closes deals. So
Yeah.
in a way, he's trying to use his negotiation skills with these terrorists, but he's not being cocky. He's shitting himself the whole time doing it. You know what I mean? Because these guys are terrorists, and they're gonna, all of that. There's stuff that happens on the ground as well, with the politicians and stuff like that. It does feel like some of the things you might have seen, like with Air Force One or Executive Decision or something along those lines, but it's done in a British way, which makes it more appealing.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? There is the odd Hollywood moment here or there, which you would expect in a show like this, but I don't know what this genre is called. And I mentioned it in my review. I don't know what the genre is called, but when you have like a plane that's being hijacked, or Nakatomi Plaza that's been hijacked, or taken over.
I think they're just called disaster films. I think it's just disaster genre.
Yeah, but I love, but not in the same sense of like Towering Inferno or anything like that. But
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But with like a plane or a boat or whatever being hijacked, or a building being hijacked, I love that genre. I've always found it fascinating.
Genre, yeah.
Yeah, what genre?
Just call it hijack genre.
Yeah, hijack genre. It's fun.
I'm not a big fan of those. That's why I'm not going to watch it. But hey, listen, it sounds like it's good. So if anyone else,
I recommend. I gave it a 9 out of 10 because sometimes with these shows, because it's only 7 episodes, you don't end up focusing on stupid backstories of other passengers and shit like that, which is so unnecessary.
Okay, just recommend the show. I just want to get, because there's a lot of comments coming in. Sorry, dude.
Nigel Farage.
Gaz, you've seen Oppenheimer.
I have, yes.
You hated it, didn't you? Yeah.
No, I loved it.
I don't think you have heard of it, but I love Ben 10. Yeah, we've heard of fucking Ben 10. I never watched an episode, but
I've watched it.
Yeah. Like your beard. Thank you very much. Sounds awesome. Are you guys all friends? Yes, we're all lovers.
Yeah, we've all met each other as well at some point in our lives.
We daisy chain each other every chance we get.
Yeah, human centipede.
I shared a bed with Paddy. He's an excellent spooner.
That's right, mate. We spooned like champions, and they tried to fucking fob the other guy off on us. I was like, no, I don't want this fucking miserable prick sleeping in my room. Not you. You remember the other guy? I can't remember his name. And but he was a right fucking miserable prick. And I was just like, no, that was that was Shredder's and somebody else's responsibility. I didn't want it.
I just want to tell people
we're pretty much the same age, all enough.
Yeah, I just want to tell these people the story because myself, me and Ginger, we're both atheists, but
nobody cares, dude. Just get to the story.
Let me just talk it, yeah. Stop fucking being a buzzkill, yeah. Oh, you don't fucking like it. I'm not allowed to fucking talk about it. Shut the fuck up. Let me fucking talk about my shit. All right, for fuck's sake. Yeah. Right, so anyway, so back in 2010, wow, which is a long time ago, we had the atheist YouTube meetup, and there's all these different atheists there. It was really cool to meet them. I never knew there were so many fucking atheists out there, and I sat next to Boss Man, the only person who wasn't one. And I said to him, isn't it cool that there's no fucking religious people around this? You remember that, boss man?
I do, yes. I remember you
And the
being
boss
high as
man,
a kite as well.
and you gave me this smile, like, well, that's a bit of an awkward smile, like, you know what I mean? And so I thought that was really funny at the time, and I found out that you happen to be the token non-religious, the token religious person amongst all us fucking atheists and shit like that. But yeah, that was a very hilarious moment, and I remember playing Xbox with you, and you kicking my ass on that racing game.
Yeah, I did on.
Yeah.
I forget the name of it.
Need for
Was it
Speed?
NOS?
Was it?
No, it wasn't Need for Speed. It had some weird power ups in it and that.
Oh, all right, but like I mean,
But that's racing games, man. That's why I don't play racing games. I'm too fucking good at them.
Right. But the thing is that a little bit of backstory. I could talk about this now because it's been 10 years.
What? Before we do that, we've got a question here. What do you guys do for work apart other than Twitch?
I'm unemployed now.
Oh, well, that's only recently, but you were working.
In a college.
Yeah. Zamo's
you're a professional wrestler. What are you on about?
Yeah, he's a professional wrestler now, mate. Yeah, we'll put you as that. I just work for a charity that I can't disclose for obvious reasons, but we deal with a lot of fucking problems that people have, and we're the first point of contact, and we kind of try to give them advice and help and signpost them to where they need to get help. We also deal with food banks and homeless shelters and all this kind of shit. Zam?
I am a London cab driver who has many famous people in my cab. This week alone, I've had Trevor Nelson, the DJ, as well as Dominic Cooper, who played the young Tony Stark in Captain America, the First Avenger, and Gemma Chan, who played Cersei in The Eternals. And before that, I had Paul McCartney's grandson. I've had Chrissy Hynde from The Pretenders. I've had so many famous people, I've lost count. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a cool job. Get some good money. I got a $10 tip from these Americans today by biting my lip and not going all political on them because they told me they were Ron DeSantis fans. I thought, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Oh, yes. That Trump guy is an interesting fellow. Yes,
I've been kissing your ass this whole fucking journey. Now you're telling me I better get that goddamn fucking tip, but I'm keeping my mouth shut. And yeah, they did give me that tip.
Great.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so after that night, right, we all had to get the bus back. So if you guys remember Ujama Flipper and what's his name is
Ujama Flipper. Yeah, my God.
Potato.
Yeah, Potato. Yeah, him
and
had beef.
And who else was it? Newman. I am Newman, if you remember him.
Yeah, I remember Newman.
Yeah. Anyway, they got high and drunk. So what they decided to do was, we're at the bus station. They started punching the bus station wall while we're there waiting for the fucking bus.
So English.
The London Cole was not very happy. I can tell you that for a fact.
I wouldn't have been fucking happy if I'd have seen that. I would slap them.
Who's the name of that bold atheist guy, the American one, I think. He came in, he made a bit of
got that funk.
Yeah, got that funk. Yeah,
Paul,
he was like a big he was like a big one at the time. I remember Philly the Geek was there as well.
Yeah. Scout Casper was there.
Oh, fuck her, man. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
honestly.
We stream every Friday, Novacek. Every Friday, 10 p.m. UK time. I don't know what country you're in, but it's 10 p.m. UK time every Friday. If we're not on a Friday, we might be on a Saturday, Sunday, around about the same time. But yeah,
that's for this particular stream.
That's for this particular stream. But these guys, if they're not live on Twitch, they're live on YouTube all the time, doing reviews, talking about different shows.
Next Thursday, we're live. We're doing the final episode of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, and next Wednesday we're live doing the final episode. Doing the final episode of fucking Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah, so we cover everything here, like wrestling, Star Wars, Star Trek, random shows that don't really fit into the kind of thing. Like I know Zam's done a bunch of.
I just done a review of
Hijack.
His Strike.
Oh, sorry,
Hijack. Yeah, so check our YouTube channel out. By the way, that's where you'll see all our videos.
YouTube.
Yeah,
Novacek, take care, mate.
I'm sorry. As I say, we've got a event coming up which is called Debate Arena, which is going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks, where we're going to be doing like debate matches between people on the show. So please keep your eye out for that.
Yeah, mate. Tune into that.
Sorry, Paddy, you wanted to talk about what was it? The filmmaker of Secret Invasion.
Oh, mate, it all falls into the fucking thing. So I'm always happy to wait if other people have stuff to talk about. It's not a problem. So yeah, so the director of Secret Invasion, you know, we all watched Secret Invasion. It was disappointing, and the director comes out fucking blaming the audience. Said it's not his job to fulfill expectations. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And I can't stand this argument of, because again, blaming toxic fan culture and the kind of the current climate and all this shit. Hang on a second. Every fucking fan on the planet united in its love for Andor. All right. I don't know anyone that doesn't like Andor. You know, everyone, left, right, center, up the clouds, whatever.
There are people who call it boring, but you know, those are those people. So
there's like 1%, you know what I mean, compared to like the vast majority.
Yeah, right? For sure.
And that's why, because you've got a fucking great product there with mature storytelling, well written characters, it's enthralling action. You don't know what's going to happen, and doesn't even need a lot of action. That's what made the show so strong. When you make it intriguing and blah blah blah. I'm not going to go on and on about it. So this fucking prick, because he lacked the maturity to write a show of such magnitude, and he made it basically a pile of shit. Is trying to blame the audience. It's like, no, fuck you. It's not our fault. Take, you know, accept the fact that your product is shit and be better, work better. And this moves me on to Witcher executives. And again, every single cunt that worked on this show, not the actors, but every other cunt that worked on The Witcher is an absolute fucking moron of the highest order. And this just proves it here. The Witcher executives made the excuse that they had to simplify the show because audiences are, not to paraphrase, stupid. And it goes, especially with American audiences and their lack of attention span and all this. So they had to simplify the show. That is complete bullshit. And we know it's bullshit because you already chastised and laughed at the source material and insisted you were going to do it your way. Secondly, Game of fucking Thrones, Breaking Bad, The Wire, shows with complex, multi-level storytelling and different arcs that happen throughout the whole fucking show are massively beloved, respected, with massive, huge ratings. And this is where I get annoyed with executives because, again, they do not fucking know what people want. They are arrogant arseholes with no artistic merit that come in and want to do things their way, even though their way is shit. How can you take The Witcher lore, which by all accounts, speaking with Christine, is fucking incredible, and shit on it that badly? I mean, they did it with Rings of fucking Power, but they didn't do that with Game of Thrones up until they ran out of material, and then people unanimously loathed season 7 and 8 of Game of Thrones, and because the writers got exposed for being shite, because once they didn't have source material, they deviated massively and completely ruined the fucking thing. But the first 6 seasons, my God, forget it. And I've said at my job, there were people of different ages, different racial backgrounds that were all talking about Game of Thrones. That's all everyone talked about at work. Yep. All right. So don't give me this bullshit that you had to simplify it for the audience. It doesn't fly anymore. People are very savvy. And we know they're savvy. How do we know they're fucking savvy? They saw Transformers. They said, I'm not going to go watch that. They saw Fast and Furious 10. Said, I'm not going to go watch that. They saw Barbie, like, I'm going to go fucking watch that. And Barbie's about to break 1 billion. You know, so don't give me this shit. I'm sick of it. Your thoughts, guys?
Well, there was a character in Game of Thrones called, I mean, the name Aemon Targaryen has been used for various characters, but there was one particular Aemon Targaryen that you heard about many a time, but you only really saw him in the flashback, I think maybe in season 6 of Game of Thrones. And so here's this guy that you've heard been spoken about many a time, and now you're finally seeing him. And this kind of goes to show that the writing was done in such a way that you knew who this character was before you got to see him, and he was only ever spoken about briefly here and there. And there were so many characters, by the way, in Game of Thrones. You forgot who the main characters were. You were following people who you initially thought were supporting act characters to some of the main cast, but then they had their own story because they drifted away from the main cast and they were doing their own thing, and it was just absolutely fantastic. You couldn't get enough of it. It was so bloody good.
It literally, like, in all my life, I've never known a show have such an impact on people and have be talked about so much that more than Game of Thrones was. It was.
Well,
I'd never seen anything like it.
Well, they done something which was very unique. They killed off the main character in the first season before on the penultimate episode of the first season. The whole time I'm watching this, I'm thinking to myself, okay, something's going to save him. Cliche, something's going to stop, and no, he gets decapitated. He dies, and I'm thinking to myself, I've never seen that. And then later on, I think by season 3, with the people you think would avenge him, they die as well. So, like, he's not going to get the vengeance that you think he should get. I mean, he kind of does to a degree, but the formula wasn't there, and that's what made it so popular. Eventually, unfortunately, some people did have plot armor, and it did become formulaic. It's almost impossible to a degree, because if you do end up killing off characters for the sake of it, then you're gonna have to almost start new storylines.
It's predictable.
Yeah, it ended up being a bit predictable at the end, but initially it wasn't.
But the problem is with both Secret Invasion and The Witcher, is that instead of adapting the source material, what these people are doing is, let's ignore it and let's make our own shit. It's like, that's not. If you want to make your own shit, cool, do that. But then don't make it an adaptation of these products, because these products have a storyline. No, you don't have to follow it exactly, because there's beats. Like,
it's impossible.
Like, for example, Game of Thrones, like you're just talking about, Patty, right? There's times that the scripts will take deviations from the books. Like, for example, like one of the big ones is that the fact is that what's the name? Lady Stark comes back to life, and starts killing people.
She becomes a White Walker.
Not really. She comes like a zombie or something like that. Well,
Well, White Walkers are zombies, aren't they?
Not a zombie, really. Not like a White Walker, but something different. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
She comes back in a way, but they don't do that.
Yeah, I know about that.
Yeah, so they don't do that in the series because it would take away from the story that they're trying to tell.
Yeah, like one of Daenerys' love interests is supposed to have a blue beard. He never had a fucking blue beard, because that looks really stupid on the screen. I mean, in the book he had a blue beard.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that kind of deviation is fine. Again, even if you do like a bit of race swapping in a fantasy fucking setting, it's fine. Like, just make it good, and people will fucking forget about it. Unlike Rings of Power, in which case they just shit on it.
The fandom menace, by the way, they were about to shit on House of Dragon before it came out. Lots of female characters, black.
Didn't they go quiet after it came out?
Yeah, like, because there's one person that people still kind of like, but I think he's a dickhead. Is the Critical Drinker? He's I
can't stand that fucking.
My
brother liked him. I'm like, he's such a.
He shat all over Rings of. He shat all over the trailer for House of Dragon. It said it was going to be woke and all of this sort of shit. Unfortunately for these guys, it became super popular. It was really good. It was really good, and so he ended up changing his tune. And there's a famous clip of one of his thumbnails where he was talking about the identity politics, but then he just changed it to trailer reaction, and stuff like that. So it just goes to show that these people are just there for the grift and to get clicks of outrage culture and stuff like that, which is what they do.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I mean. So if something ends up being really fucking good, then all that shit goes out the window, and you ain't got a fucking leg to stand on. And that's why these producers and directors just absolute no, just no fucking love in the product.
The funny
But
thing is, I'm not on this bandwagon. I'm not on the anti-woke bandwagon. That's for sure. But I'm not on this bandwagon regarding everyone loving Barbie. I just don't see it the same way other people do. I do like it does bring joy to my heart that neckbeards are losing their shit over this. But I never necessarily enjoyed the film the same way my colleagues did. You know, I just thought it was just all
Yeah,
right.
which is fair
You know
enough.
what I mean?
Absolutely fair enough. And
Yeah.
that's why
well,
we're gonna cut your dick off after this stream, isn't it?
but the thing is that I mean I liked Oppenheimer better than Barbie, but I thought Barbie was important as well. That's the thing is the whole thing with this whole thing is that it's okay to not like something. And by the way, I will defend directors defending their work because it's okay us watching it, but for them it was like 2 or 3 years making this stuff. And it was probably time away from their family, where it's like probably shooting probably in shit conditions
No,
where
I mean it's fine defending your work. Don't blame us. That's what I mean. Don't say that it's not your job to make us like the product. Yes, it fucking is. You can say, look, this is a product we made. We were very proud of it. We're hoping audiences are along for the ride. We had to do this, this, and this because it did have a troubled production because of fucking COVID as well. But there's no fucking excuse for how that show bloody panned out.
I agree with you.
In the end, and again, it's just lack of oversight, lack of understanding of one what Secret Invasion really should have been, and two, just again, I hate to fucking agree with Bob Iger, but they were churning shit out with just for the sake of churning shit out. They're like, oh, Agatha, yeah, let's do that one. Ah, Ego, let's do that one. Ah, fucking She-Hulk was a must because She-Hulk is like a fucking
Well,
a
they made the
main
same mistake with made the same mistake with Star Wars, where they just thought, okay, we could just make stuff and people will watch it,
exactly.
and
Just
that wasn't
churned out
necessarily the case.
soulless garbage. Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you do that, though, the franchise will lose its luster. And
That's
what's
what's
happened?
happened. Like we haven't had a Star Wars film since 2019.
Nope.
yeah. I feel
Uh,
like we do one as well,
And by the time the strikes are over,
yeah,
it's going to be 7 fucking years before we see a bloody Star Wars film in the cinema. That is unacceptable. And I'm not going to repeat myself, but I'm just saying, like,
no, do
you
buy
got to
it.
know where your priorities are. You got to know how to do your fucking job properly, and don't blame. You can blame the fans for a lot of things in terms of if they're attacking people, actors who had no fucking say in the general production of things and all of that. You can attack fans for that kind of culture. You can attack fans like the Fandom Menace, who just have no scruples and morals, or don't even give a shit about the product. They just want their rage bait views and all this kind of shit. You can attack
Yeah,
those kind of fans, but you can't attack the general fans who just want a good product. They want to enjoy
yeah,
something that's really well made. And time again, you get a product that's really well made, we're all gonna fucking watch it. Simple as that. Oh,
yeah.
speaking of, Harley Quinn has done a huge turnaround with season 4. But season 3 was awful. I managed 4 episodes and I quit on it. Whereas season 4 has only had one bad episode. The other 3 have been solid. So
Or maybe if you watch the entire season 3, maybe that episode of season 4 would have made more sense because it might
No,
have.
I don't need it. I don't need it. They did a recap at the beginning of season 4, so
Okay,
you get to see what happened in season 3, and I was like, yeah, I'm glad I dodged the
Double O.
bullet. But so far so good, and I'm glad because like I didn't want to give up on Harley Quinn because I fucking loved that show. I was singing its praises for the first 2 seasons, and it's the same with What We Do in the Shadows. Like the previous season just felt kind of hollow and just soulless. There was like no love in there. It seemed, but this season, they're probably their best one yet. So it's nice to see 2 shows that I loved back on form as well. And on that bombshell, unless you guys want anything you want to talk about, we can end the stream there.
That's fine.
I think yeah, I'm done.
All right, lovely. Well, I want to thank my co-hosts for joining me and for their input and their topics this week. It's always lovely to see. I want to thank everyone in the comment section that participated. Again, even if we don't agree, we still welcome people's point of views we are going to hand your ass to you regardless, unless you hand our asses to us, in which case, great, we'd love to see it. On that note, we'll see you for many, 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 many other videos and products that we've got coming out, and let normality